I'm not going to monitor. Yeah, you just want to like, as long as you're relatively close, that's fine. Make it comfortable.
All right.
We are recording, but we can just roll into it.
Yeah.
Jason,
Hey.
how's it going, bud?
All right. How you doing?
Should we start off with
Should I look at the camera? Should I look at you?
Up to you, man. Up to you. Are you up for starting off with a shot of tequila?
Yes.
Loosen up a little bit.
Sure.
This actually, so I love this stuff. I only found it at Whole Foods.
Really? I've never seen it.
But honestly, so Reposado, I found I do not like silvers that much.
Maybe like a half a shot. We got some drinking to do.
That's true.
We got a lot on the
Half shot.
on the
Give
docket.
myself a little more. I'm not going anymore.
Well, yeah, there you
It's a long day. Yeah, Lagranita. I don't know. Cheers.
go. I mean, you know me. I'm not much of a.
This is like $18 for that. I actually really like it though.
Yeah, actually, it's good
Smooth.
for $18.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty big fan.
it's a little nicer than what you would put, say, in a margarita or tequila sunrise or something.
I do
It
make-
tastes a little better.
Make some spicy margaritas with that every now and then.
There you
so, go.
There you go.
Actually, Spindrift. It's good with Spindrift too.
Yeah.
This podcast is not sponsored by Spindrift.
All right, but maybe it could be.
I'm just saying.
Jalapenos in your spicy margarita? Is that what, do you like soak it for a day, or like what's your approach?
I do not.
Like a thing.
Do it's pre-made. Shouldn't admit that.
Oh,
But I forget the name of the company. They have Skinny, which is actually pretty good. So the Skinny, I don't even know if it's less calories. I don't like a lot of sugar, and it's just less sweet. So there's more lime and some of that stuff.
That's nice.
And then the spicy one is sweeter, but it has the kick of jalapeno to it.
yeah.
I have done, like with Spindrift, I'll get fresh jalapenos, muddle them
yep.
with ice and do it that way.
Yeah.
That's really good too.
Yeah, that's nice.
I do enjoy that.
I decided that was something I wanted to add to my drink list years ago. This was before,
Spicy jalapeno?
this was before Christine and I even got married, a couple years before we got legally married. That's a whole conversation, maybe at some point. And, and so I started doing some searching and tried a bunch of different recipes and stumbled across one it's a ton of effort, but it's fantastic. It's mostly fresh limes,
Huh.
right? Which took forever, right? To squeeze enough limes to make.
Do you get one of those
decent
fancy,
margarita.
like-
Yeah, I did get one. Yeah,
Okay.
this Cuisinart thing that you just squish it and it spins and does the thing.
Yeah.
And then some fresh agave syrup,
Okay.
and then tequila. And you can almost do whatever tequila. I just kind of get middle of the road.
Yeah, I don't know why silver for some reason for me. I think this ruined me, and I like the earthier. I don't know.
It's nice.
That's my problem is I don't know the right linguistics of this, but
And then you soak jalapenos in it for like a day and just let it sit and marinate on these things, and then pour it over ice with a little salt. And I usually put a little cayenne pepper mixed in with the salt. so
Okay.
you get a little heat on the rim too, and they're fantastic.
I like the cayenne. I found is hard to blend in sometimes. Like it'll just settle to the bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe if you soak Serranos, if you really want to kick, I've done some Serrano too.
Oh, really? In with the salt and like that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't do salt in mine actually,
Oh, really?
but
So
I do
salt
like.
rims. I'm a rim salty kind of margarita guy.
I definitely don't on the rim. Maybe like sometimes they have the more spicy, like salty stuff they use. Soul, I think, has that, which actually is the first time I maybe tried spicy margaritas and saw you. Was it the pineapple cayenne or something like
Yeah,
that?
they had something. Yeah,
Okay.
like that there.
That was delicious. They have some
was
good
delicious.
margaritas.
It was, yeah.
I haven't been.
And so the balance of that story. So we decided when Christine and I got legally married, we got a place up in the Palisades, just stunning, great view, and we rented this huge house. It was like I want to say 8 or 9 bedroom place, just massive, great view of the ocean. And we brought our family in, and everyone sort of had a bedroom, so everyone could stay and everyone could just get lit. And it didn't matter because we were all just going to stay there. And my cousin is a minister, and so he and my aunt and uncle were there, and he married us, and so everyone could just sort of stay put.
Nice.
And it was awesome to have everyone in the same spot. And we decided we wanted to have those margaritas. There's a great Mexican place. Are you familiar? There's an Irish sort of breakfast place along PCH, just as you sort of get out of Santa Monica, and it's a big biker place. I can't remember the name of it. Everybody who's going to go right up to Topanga, they all stop at this weird, quirky Irish place and have breakfast before they go.
No, definitely. I've been to like the Mastro's there. There's a few steakhouses.
And it's
that's like Malibu
farther
area.
south than that.
Oh, interesting. Before that,
closer to the Santa Monica Beach Club, sort of.
Near like the gas station, that big corner.
Yeah. It's right.
Okay.
It's actually right behind that Marathon station.
Oh,
right there.
No shit.
Now we
Okay.
sound like the Californians.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, they have these epic. There's a Mexican restaurant right behind that place, which was the whole point of the story behind that Irish place. And they have amazing tacos, just fantastic. And so we decided we weren't going to go highbrow. We already did the amazing like getaway wedding the first time, and then this was with family and everything legal in the States. And so we decided.
You were illegally married prior to this.
We were married. We were not legally recognized as married.
Okay.
Yes, in the States.
It doesn't matter.
We were Cook Islands. We were married. United States, we were not married.
Interesting.
We decided not to file the paperwork for reasons. Depending on how much we drink, maybe we'll get. We'll see. And so we decided we were going to have like a chill meal instead of this big like thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we had this Mexican place cater these incredible tacos. And now I'm going to go off tangent even a little more. We got this bakery. I'm a pie guy. I'm not a cake guy. I'm a pie guy all day long.
I don't know if I'm either. I like cheesecakes and weird stuff like that, but I'm not.
I like cheesecake, but if I'm picking,
Apple
it's gonna
pie,
be a
cherry pie? What?
Yeah. Yes.
All of the above.
Yep. All the fruit pies.
What about strudels? Where's the line of like?
That's very similar for me.
All
I'm
right.
happy with a strudel. You know, obviously less goo, less fruit in
Yeah.
a strudel, but lovely.
It's like a mini pie.
It is like a mini pie. Yeah. And so, well, that's what it was. So we found this incredible bakery up there in the Palisades, and they make these little individual pies. And they had like 3 or 4 different kinds: blueberry, cherry, apple, and then something weird, boysenberry or elderberry or something like that.
Okay.
And they make this pie tree. It's like this mountain, and each, like these pies are in these little containers as it goes up. And that's really what we had.
Huh.
Instead of wedding cake, we had this ridiculously
Pie
awesome
tree.
pie tree. It was so great.
That's kind of amazing.
It was incredible. Yeah, I still think about those little pies all the time. I should get some before we split LA, which is a topic coming up.
Have you had Rocco's cheesecake? I was getting Wingstop the other day, and it's right there. I've never been there in person.
I never have. Yeah.
I had it a while ago.
Are you like a traditional
all right.
cheesecake guy? There's a little blueberry, or there's a little
No.
something on top, or you get like fancy chocolate, caramel, and nutty cheesecakes.
I say that, and it depends. It's actually been a while. So for birthdays, I would do like an ice cream cake normally, and like Dairy Queen. I'm cool with that. I love the Oreo bottom with just
Sure. Baskin Robbins,
rich.
great ice cream.
Ben and Jerry's too.
Ben and Jerry's,
They do a good
awesome
one.
ice cream cakes. Yeah.
Pumpkin pie and cheesecake, I always said were my favorite desserts. And when I found out they made both,
Oh, pumpkin pie cheesecake.
that blew my mind.
Yeah, I bet that'd be awesome.
Like the winner take all. I would say now more fancy, like a plain cheesecake actually doesn't sound that good to me. But I also think Sara Lee and Frozen, and those aren't that good.
Yeah, no.
But like Cheesecake Factory overdoes it, I think. There's too much going on.
There's a lot
Too
of-
sweet.
Yeah.
There's some balance. Homemade. I mean, honestly, if like that's good. My brother actually made one recently that was amazing.
A proper, slightly tangy sort of New York cheesecake, and then you just put a little bit of blueberry compote or
Yeah.
maybe raspberry, something interesting on
raspberry.
top. Yeah, like fantastic.
Yeah.
The tang is, and the less sweet is, I think, great.
Lime.
Anyway, so I went way off on a tangent when I started to talk about the pie tree. So we had these tacos and decided we were going to make these spicy margaritas. So like a day before, I decided I was going to make it at home and we would bring it up. So we got this, big glass, sort of lemonade thing with a tap on the bottom, right? Like a manual tap valve. And I must have been squeezing limes in that juicer thing for, 2 hours. I was just like grinding away at these limes to get enough lime juice.
How many people?
It was like 23 total, something like 23 people.
Okay.
21, 23. Yeah. And so it was a lot a lot of margaritas. Of course, we had beer. I brought my own beer. We had like 2 or 3 different kinds of beer, the lager and the Scottish ale and a couple different things that I brought on tap. And we had some just incredible wine from Steinbeck's way up in Paso. They're one of our favorite wineries up there. And so we had a lot of other different things. Does that girl in the bikini walk by all the time, or is that just like
you know, living here and working is distracting because my office faces the window, and no joke, it's just all day. You're like, wait, I'm on a Zoom call. What's going on here?
That's the beauty of Santa Monica. And the guy in the truck is like, yeah, go ahead, baby, cross the street. I'll wait for you.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
So it took forever to make this stuff, and I the day of before we went up there. I mean, we were up there a day or two before the actual wedding ceremony, and so, but I didn't want to be scrambling the day of, right? So
yeah,
I juiced all these limes and added the agave, and we bought the fifths of. It was in a blue bottle. It was, I don't know, $25 maybe.
Milagro's pretty standard.
Weird shaped, like diamond shaped or something. Kind of an odd shaped bottle. Maybe it was round.
It like gets taller and then kind of
tall. Thing.
Yeah. Kind of like a clear blue.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see probably Milagro.
Yeah. And so dumped all that in and just set it in the fridge to chill for the day or whatever, and then brought it up there, and of course it chilled for 2 more days. All the while with these jalapenos just soaking in this stuff, right in the like thing with the tap, right? And it sat for a couple of days, and then on wedding day we started to pour those things. Of course, we had, champagne toast for after the ceremony and all that stuff. But drinking those margaritas after all that stuff marinating and the jalapenos soaking for like 2 or 3 days, it was mind blowing. They were pretty hot. Like you had to.
It's a way to do it though. You don't want to just like heat. A little.
You wanted like, oh yeah, that's jalapeno in your face. Yeah. It was. They were seriously, I think, some of the best spicy margaritas like I've had. Like that was a commitment of time and planning to have this whole thing done days and days in advance. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's time to. What do we want to taste next?
Yeah, what are we going to do next? We're going to do beer? Do you want to just stick?
I've got 2 beers. I've got a surprise. And that's really it. And then a tequila.
So I think we should plan it out according to what's going to wreck our palate the most. So I've got a scotch that is through the roof. And you probably shouldn't have a messed up palate before trying it.
Yeah. Should we do scotch? I'll show you mine.
I'll show you mine.
There we go.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So you have a scotch type beverage as well.
Type, not quite close.
Yeah.
You know what I like, so.
You're a bourbon guy.
Yeah, it's a bourbon.
That's fine.
And I have a funny. It comes with a story though. Is the best part.
I'm judging you a little. It's fine.
Do you want me to start then? Do you want to?
How aggressive is yours?
For me, it's the best thing ever. I had to crack into it. I didn't want to open it. And then Friday night, I'm sitting here and I'm like,
I think I would have been disappointed.
I got to find out. Find out. And it was, I've only ever had it once ever aside from this.
Is it like smoky? Is it like aggressive?
No.
How much is it going to hit your palate?
I feel like it's very clean and there's a little bit of sweetness, but not too much. Yeah. To me, it's honestly like, liquor in general, you don't really enjoy, right? A lot of times you're masking the flavor.
Yeah.
You're mixing it. This is genuinely like, this just tastes good.
Okay. So mine is sweeter. It's on the sweeter side of
Probably
scotch.
Start with yours then, maybe.
Right.
You want to do that? Because then,
and
we can do a palate cleanser.
I had it the first time. There's a bunch, you know me, I have a rambling story. I'm going to set this so you can see it for a minute. The first time I had this scotch was when we were both working at Appetize. I'm not going to show the logo because it was that big. We had all those people in for the big like client feedback thing, MSG.
Oh yeah, the CAB, Customer Advisory Board.
Yeah. Yeah, all those folks were in, and we went to dinner. I think you were there.
Yeah. Was that Seoul? We went to a few.
We went to Hal's before it closed in Playa Vista. And they had that separate side room with the sliding doors, and they put us in there and closed the doors. And
I don't think I was. I've been to that house.
Surprising.
Well, closed now, but I don't remember
they
going there for
closed.
that.
That was a great space.
Playa Vista kind of sucks when it comes to like anything to do. Hop Dottie, you got good burgers. You got a Mexican place, but most places don't last there, and it's weird.
It's too bad. The rent must just be. I can't even imagine what the rent is.
Well, that's where I initially moved. It was at first, and now, I mean, everything else is new construction. So my guess is that the new stuff's probably expensive, and/or it's like these crazy 3-story townhouses, which I'm sure are multi-million craziness. But you got Google employees, you got Facebook. They're getting paid well.
They're doing just fine.
And now they're working from home anyway.
$1 million, 1,200 square foot condo is just fine. Like they don't. That's fine, right? It's $6,000 a month. They can afford that. Anyway, so we went there but you remember how Max was at something like this. Like he was just throwing the money down.
Yeah.
Right? Like as long as it was food or good alcohol, like he was willing to just spend like crazy, right? It was kind of the only thing he spent on, but when it came to that, he was willing to spend. So whenever we would go out as a group, like I basically didn't look at prices. It was fantastic to be able to go someplace and try something really crazy. And so they had this at Hal's, and it was something like $75 for a finger of this or something. And I thought, wow, that's incredible. I'm gonna remember this scotch. This is probably the best scotch I've ever had. I'm gonna stick this in the back of my head, and if the opportunity ever comes up, I'm gonna buy some. Of course, knowing it was probably 4x, 5x the price that they.
Yeah, usually you're like a 20% cost margin on that. So, and who knows when it's rare.
Yeah, right. And so, then tangent story related. Christine and I, this was fall of 2019, so a year and a half ago. We went to the UK. You probably remember. I was there for 2 weeks, and we did like Northern Ireland, Inverness, kind of up in that area, and then we did Scotland, and then a couple days in Edinburgh, and then headed over to Ireland for a couple days, and then spent a couple days in like Chippenham and London, and it was just like a grand tour of the UK. It was fantastic, and we went to McKellen, and it was nearly a religious experience. Like they have, I wish I could describe it. Maybe when you put all this together, you can pull together an image to show while I'm describing this. It was.
Oh, you're adding editing time.
I'm adding editing time to this. So there was like this museum off the side. It looked like something out of Hobbiton. Half the distillery was buried underground, and half of it was these giant, massive barns with barrels in these musty stone basements that sort of smelled like your grandparents' basement kind of a vibe, right? Like just an incredible place. And they had this museum off to the side of the entrance that was, I don't know, 40 plus feet high of these bottles of every bottle they've ever done of Macallan is on display on these glass shelves, with lights underneath, shining up through these things. It's like, a cathedral to Scotch, to Macallan Scotch. Unbelievable. And if you end up surfing around, I'm sure there's easy pictures of finding this thing. Anyway, we tried 4 or 5 different things, but we also tried Rare Cask there. And it really cemented in my head, like, oh my God, this is an unbelievable Scotch, right? There are people who, they don't do it anymore, which is sad, because I would actually think about it, like going in on it with a couple people. Up until 3 or 4 years ago, you could get a whole barrel of Macallan Scotch for like somewhere between 10, 15,000 for your own 50-gallon barrel of their Scotch. Okay. And they would set it aside and age it for you, like forever, right? And when you're ready to either take receipt of the whole barrel or have them tap some, like it was a whole part of the price, and they would send you fifths, or they would ship the whole barrel, whatever you want, right? I mean, exorbitantly expensive, obviously, but
And you got to hope everyone lives through the
yeah,
aging process.
Hope, yeah, and hope the zombie apocalypse doesn't happen and you lose bigger problems. So anyway, like we tried this scotch there, and it really cemented in my mind that wow, I really need to get some of this just for the rare occasion when I want to enjoy something really special.
Yeah.
And so the promotion recently to CTO, Christine's like, we need to do something really cool, and so we got a bottle of this scotch, and so it's. The packaging is...
There's dust on the top, I'll add, so you
Right?
have not opened this in a while.
It's got to be a good reason to open it, for sure. And so it's this whole, like they explain about the
Oh,
scotch.
you drank a lot of this, huh?
I have had a couple touches. Not a lot.
This is a treat.
This is an incredible scotch. And that's not as much as you might think. I picked it up at Beverage Warehouse over off Culver, near the DirecTV place. I don't know if you've been there.
No,
Boy,
I'm nodding.
you should. They have a whiskey room, like a set-off whiskey room. I almost took a picture the other day when I was there. I frequent it perhaps more than I should. And they have this giant long wall of scotch and an equally long wall of American whiskey and bourbon in addition. So
Delicious stuff.
and a decent section of Irish whiskey as well. But then they have the special room where this is and Balvenie.
How old is
21.
it? It does not say.
This is 2020. The
how
aging.
aged?
So it's aged between 17 and 21 years. It kind of depends. And the fascinating thing is, as they go through and they sample regularly all the scotch in barrels to figure out when it's ready, when it's done. Is this a 12?
Yeah.
Is this an 18? Is this what is this, right? And
Yeah.
they decide that stuff as they go. They don't decide up front. They decide what kind of barrels to use and some of those things up front, but they don't decide how long they're going to age it when they make it and barrel it. They decide as it goes.
Interesting.
And the idea behind Rare Cask is they're coming along and they're sampling things, and they try one that just,
It's that good.
who knows why, right? The particular tree that this barrel was cut from, or who knows exactly why.
Yeah.
The combination of what was in it before, what tree it was from, how old it was, right, combines to make a rare cask of really exceptional Macallan Scotch. And so that's where this comes from. Is like they don't plan it. They don't like make rare cask. They like a rare cask sort of presents itself. Is the idea.
I'm a strong believer in that anyway, because you got it with me when we were coming back from Poland, the 36-year-old Chivas.
That's right.
And that's the oldest thing I've ever had, and it was frankly not one of the best.
It was pretty underwhelming.
I got it for a really good deal in an airport of all places. 36 years, I was like, this is older than me. I got to try this.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that it's still crazy. Even this 20, something sat 17 to 21 years just for us to consume. But that said, I've had 12-year that I love. I've had 8-year that's great. And then I've had 36-year that I'm like, it's all right.
It's okay.
And just genuinely not trying to be snobby. Like it just was,
It's not just about the number, right? Like there's something else
yeah.
undefinable that kind of goes into it.
I think you'll see with mine too. I'm curious. You probably had it, but
Well,
we should try this.
I'm looking for it. All right, so let's get this out of
So
here.
as you're opening this, I'll give some background. I guess we didn't really introduce, but we used to work together.
We used to work together.
Hopefully someday we'll get to work together in the future
That'd be
again.
fantastic.
We're both looking at moving to Colorado, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. Good time working with each other, and I think we've always been beer buddies since then.
There were good times, there were bad times, but you know what? It was mostly like a pretty amazing experience.
That's life. That's life, right? You got to have your ups with your downs. If it's all ups, then you're doing something wrong, I think.
Yeah, right. All right. So
How-
the Macallan, they were very particular about they told the whole story about how the owner thought that giving it was a more prestigious sort of name, and so they added the in front of Macallan, just like Balvenie did to follow
Kellen.
them.
You're saying McKellen, not McAllen.
The Macallan. Yeah, Macallan.
I'm curious. Yeah, no, they both. Yours sounds better. I've always said McAllen.
Macallan. That sounds very Midwestern.
McAllen.
Yeah.
And these are amazing glasses for this as well.
Right? Yes. This is the appropriate glass for
Ooh. The nose, as they say, is that nose?
it is.
The nose is very
Slange
interesting.
Var. That's the Slange is the Scottish cheers.
Is there a specific way? I forget what they call it, where you like certain bourbons and things. So it's incredibly smooth. I'm amazed how light it is.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like oomph. It almost has a tea, like a iced tea finish.
It does, right? That's really interesting. Yeah, it does. Sweet. It's not peaty at all, I don't think.
No,
Really smooth, sort of thick coating.
Strong legs.
There are procedures. Smelling it, you're supposed to sniff it with your mouth open. Because apparently it activates taste buds as well as olfactory if you have your mouth open at the same time. I don't know the exact thing
I'm
behind it.
blanking on the term. Actually ties to what we're about to try. The first person who told me about it, I was at a restaurant with him, worked with him at Shift 4, and I forget what they call it, but when you try it, you're supposed to like,
Yeah.
and it gives you a bunch of flavor afterwards, but that's for bourbon.
I should like to do a class. I've done one or two. I've done a class of Irish whiskey tasting, which, to apologize in advance for my Scottish brethren. I think there are, when you're tasting a good Scotch and a really good Irish whiskey, I think they are surprisingly similar. Which is, maybe next time we'll do Irish whiskey. There are two. There's a Redbreast 12 that is fantastic, and then there's another one called Yellow Dot that I tried in Culver at that new Irish place. Old Fella. AULDE Fella is what it's called. And
old?
as in Old Lang Syne.
Old. Huh.
Yeah. I think it's Irish for old. I don't know for sure. And I went there and ordered a Redbreast 12, and the owner's like, nah, you should try this.
No,
spot.
no,
Like,
we got
okay.
this. We got this. Trust me.
Like, all right, I'll try it. It was fantastic, and it's actually very smooth and sweet and friendly, like this. So,
It's good.
it is, right?
I am curious to contrast this with what I'm going to present shortly, but
So, I was at. You're familiar with Scope? I can't stop messing with
I
this.
was going to say, I didn't know if we should have the placemats or not, but
There's
because of your
something
ADD,
about
it
the-
seems like
Yeah, I just can't
I'm
stop.
hoping the microphone doesn't pick it up.
I might just put this away so that I stop.
We can hide it, but then we have nothing to do. What are you, you're going to like,
It. Yeah.
I don't even know.
I'll
A lot of
have to
switchblades
drink
playing.
I don't know. Yeah, I should have one of those.
Fidget spinners.
No, I will never own one of those. You're familiar with Scopa on Washington?
The Italian place. Yeah.
And
Went
behind it,
there.
there's that speakeasy.
That was a Top Chef person? Scopa,
Yes.
I believe.
I think it was too. Yeah.
That was one of my 2020 dates, took me there.
It's pretty good. It's a little bit like a lot of people go there to be seen, and that's not exactly my
Yeah.
thing, but the food is decent.
Dating during Corona. Well, we'll get there later.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear how that's been going. But there's a speakeasy behind it, and you have to be invited in by whoever the manager
not know that.
is on staff at Scopa, yeah, or the owner or whoever. And of course, so Christine and I were there with Max and his fiance at the time, wife now. Did they get married? I know they were getting married.
I
but
have no idea.
I don't
In
either.
ages.
I don't really keep touch anymore. And so of course Max knows everybody,
Oh, yeah.
and so he got us back in there, and we did some incredible tequila and Scotch tasting. It was nuts. Bottles like, the guy would come up. I don't know what a sommelier for liquor is called, but whatever his title was,
Interesting.
yeah, there's got to be a name for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's Cicerone for beer. There's sommelier for wine. Surely there's something for
Cicerone?
yeah.
Did I say it with the right? Probably not. It's
I'm
probably just.
comfortable. I probably pronounced it like a Midwesterner, but yeah.
I've never even heard that word, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be fancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cicerone.
It's a similar sort of training and certification and level of education about beer.
Could you be, what's the test?
Yes, there are multiple levels. There's like thousands and thousands of Cicerones level, maybe millions of level 1.
Level 1. Okay. How many levels are there?
Level 2 There's probably some tens of thousands. Level 3, there's something like 8 or something on the planet. Like it's such a
like a level 2,
huge
I would
commitment. I've never bothered to go through with it.
Okay.
I've got the study material. It's on my radar. I should do it so that I've done it. I think I should get level 2 under my belt so that I'm part of at least that rare.
Can you jump, or is there like a requirement of you've got to do one?
A certain amount of time. and
Wait,
all that
okay.
kind of business, yeah.
Which does valid, right? You don't want to just let people sneak in there.
No schmo can be a Cicerone level 3. So I don't know what that title is for people who serve scotch and tequila and things. But anyway, the guy,
It might be called alcoholics.
it may be let's just call him a bartender. The bartender, that just seems cheap. Seems like it's cheapening his level of knowledge.
That's fair.
So he would walk up with a bottle and he'd be like, okay, this bottle, there was X thousands made in this year, and then the distiller died in a World War I bombing, and only 70 cases survived it, and we were actually able to get one of those cases. This is probably one of the last 200 bottles of this tequila that exists on, well, not tequila, because it's World War I, of this like whiskey that exists on the face of the planet, right? And then he would show you this bottle, and you would take it and be like, oh my God, this is like,
Don't drop it.
This is this isn't just like a bottle of booze. Like it's history.
You know what we did in college? We would take fancy bottles and fill it up with cheap stuff, and then tell the ladies that it was.
This is the good stuff.
This is the Sky.
I'm
Trust us.
pulling
This
out.
isn't the Vladimir. That's when Sky was fancy.
It's not Beefeater. No, this is the good gin. And so he would give you this long story, and then he would pour this incredible whatever it was. I was in trouble. Like the next day, I wasn't feeling great. But that night, I tried so many incredible things. It was like the last of this small handful of bottles that you'll just never see again. No one ever will.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole place is like the walls are lined with these amazing bottles of every imaginable size and color and label that you can wrap your head around. It's like heaven in there, right? And we were in there with, and this will all come back around. You know how my stories meander. And we were in there with, they take your cell phone when you go in, so you can't take pictures, and they give you a playing card, and they so that they know which cell phone is yours, kind of a deal. And so you keep the playing card in your
Like
jacket.
a swingers club.
Okay, similar, I guess. Having never been, I can't really say, but I'd be interested to hear you talk about
I have a funny story, actually, as a side tangent, but there was a hotel back home. It was on, I looked this up the other day because I was talking to a coworker about it, and Hotel Impossible. I was trying to remember. It was one of those like restaurant impossible. It was Hotel Impossible. And no joke, like the actual episode, I think, was called something about swingers. And they used to do the fishbowl every Tuesday night. You go in there, you drop your keys into a fishbowl, you grab them, you go rent a room for an hour.
and you just don't know who's going to show up.
I used to live right near the hotel. I sadly have eaten at their restaurant prior to knowing any of this. This was back when I was in college. So
Was it any good?
I had enough germs anyway.
Or did you not even have it?
So they started serving Clem's barbecue, which is actually amazing barbecue, but it wasn't made or anything on site. So the food was good. Hotel was sketchy.
Well,
Didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
It has now been shut down.
Oh.
If you want to,
it's kind of a shame.
yeah,
I mean, it's a cool idea.
yeah. Look
Really?
up State College Hotel Impossible. You should find the episode. But
All right, I will.
interesting, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
awesome.
Circling back to non-swingers scenarios.
Non-swingers, yeah, that's generally, yeah. So we're in there with, I mean, I'm not good with famous people.
Really? I've
Despite
always just
having-
been like,
Been here for 10 years.
people.
I wouldn't, unless it was someone like glaringly obvious. Like if George Clooney was sitting next to me, there's a decent chance I would recognize him.
oh, you mean, I thought you meant you like freak out and you don't want to talk to them.
I don't
I'm
recognize
just like,
them.
okay.
They're just people.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Want to be left alone.
There's some I'd be excited about. But
I think I've told you this story. In the very first class I took to learn to ride a motorcycle, Jimmy Smits was in there, and nicest dude. Like he was just amazing. He was such a friendly guy.
That's funny.
He was awesome. Couldn't ride a motorcycle to save his life.
yeah.
Yeah, he was having trouble getting through that class. But
Okay, but-
it was before he took his role on Sons of Anarchy, and so he had to learn to ride a bike. Like he felt like
it's amazing how much they do with acting. Casey Neistat, who actually just because I like YouTube, obviously, he moved right near me in Venice. That was at my old spot, and I used to see him. I've saw like probably 4 or 5 times now. Just ran by him, and I always give him a nod or wave. I've never actually talked to him that much.
Hey,
but
can I do a selfie? I can't.
No, see, I wouldn't even. I would rather just talk to him and try to brain dump and understand it versus anything. But yeah, he's a cool guy. He's actually been nice and respectful.
I think there's a very small number of superstars that would just leave me sort of starstruck,
yeah, like a Brad Pitt or someone, I'd for sure. I don't know that I'd want to talk to him though. There are a Joe Rogan, I would be like, can we just bullshit? I just want to talk to you. I don't want to I don't want a selfie. I'm not a selfie. I literally don't take selfies. I do a lot of photography.
Yeah.
I am not in almost any of them. And so that's never been, I don't care about showing it. I would rather learn who you are. And
like Harrison Ford, wouldn't you want to be like, my God, just let me shake your hand. I don't even want to have a conversation.
Would you rather talk to him? To me, the selfie is just more arrogance to prove
I wouldn't want a picture
than actually I would rather enjoy the experience of
I just want to shake his hand and be like, dude,
you did some awesome shit. Yeah.
Right? Or maybe someone like Kate Beckinsale.
Oh my God. Oh my, she has aged. She hasn't aged. But Carmen Electra, who I haven't seen recently, and Kate Beckinsale are top 2 for me.
She's so gorgeous. She's probably an awful human. I have no idea.
Kate Beckinsale?
I don't know.
How dare you?
I don't know.
How dare you?
But that would be all right. I would forgive
She
her
is an angel.
She's just gorgeous.
I don't think she's been in a movie in a while.
I know. I don't remember the last one. All I think about is Underground and Pearl Harbor.
Click.
Yeah.
She's a little human in there.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Mila. I'm blanking on the Jovovich.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the newest one, Monster Hunters, but in all the Resident Evils, she hasn't aged at all either.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, some people have that gene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. Good for us.
Or I don't think it's movie magic, but
I don't think so.
There's a level of probably both. Jason Bateman, not to go the guy route, but
true.
Honestly, he aged pretty well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't even. I have no idea why I'm drawing a blank on his name. Top Gun guy.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
That is first off. Top Gun is my favorite.
Also,
movie.
Doesn't really seem to. I mean, he's obviously aging.
He's gotten some plastic surgery though. I've heard talks of which good plastic surgery clearly. And if you can afford it, you don't look unnatural. Go for it. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
You can tell he's gotten a little but not. He doesn't look old for how old he is. I think he's late 50s now, and he's swinging. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Did you see his blow up?
Amazing.
Did you hear his blow up or whatever?
No. Where he was angry at someone with COVID.
Yeah, and they were
screaming at the guy. Yes, I did.
It's interesting because it felt intentional. There were rumors that he leaked it himself because he wanted to. It was so we're employing so many people. If you guys fuck this up, everyone's fucked. Do not let me see this again. Just freaking out.
Yeah.
And
he was pissed.
It's hard to tell. He's obviously an actor too, though, right? So I'm sure there was some level of validity to it.
Making anti Trump. Not to get into politics, I'm gonna square this away. Kellen Rarecask, highly recommend it.
I'll just take care of this.
Just go ahead and take that for me. Look at how it's even got the appropriate little diamond shape in the bottom. You really gotta kind of push it in there. Yeah,
ooh,
which is what she said. I hope you enjoyed it.
That was delicious.
And fantastic. And so
it's going to make mine taste much sweeter, I think, but I like the body of mine better.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. And this was a lot of fun. I ordered this for the occasion, but I will enjoy it.
We'll have to use.
We're driving
fancy.
We could rinse these
because we got beer.
We're going to, and I will come back around at some point. I will come back around to what's happening over there.
There's a bug in here.
Oh,
it's alive, I think.
No, I don't.
I'll deal with that later.
That's freaking me right the hell out. I hate bugs.
Are you?
The story will come back around. Okay. So I'm not very good with famous people, but there were, as you know, in Playa, there's a lot of Lakers players live in those giant.
There's the practice courts. Is that the practice courts there?
Well, they have those condos right at Lincoln and I don't know what Glencoe?
That's a road. I don't know.
I can't remember. But it's right near the Harley dealership. on Lincoln. There's these two tall, giant, like light green condo buildings. Massive.
Not the glass ones.
Glass.
They're
Massive.
green. They're blue, right?
Colors.
Okay.
Not very good with. I'm a bit colorblind.
But they like oversee the. I'm just going to say the bay, the
Yes.
docks, whatever,
Yeah.
on the one side.
They're huge. They're the tallest buildings in that area. I
Marina.
think they're
The
tallest
Marina.
buildings in the
Marina Del Rey, duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're the tallest buildings in the marina.
Yeah. Matt, just huge complex too.
Yes. Yeah.
Absurd. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently a lot of Lakers players live in those buildings. You look up and you can
So
see
weird to
the
me.
two-story glass with like epic lights and like it's crazy up there. It's beautiful.
Interesting. I guess as a single guy, I'd rather just have my own spot with a yard. Maybe I'm getting old.
Oh, maybe the view, the ocean is incredible up there. I don't know. I've not been up. I don't know. But so there were a bunch of like, I don't know. It struck me as these guys sort of fit that bill, the people I was seeing in there, right? Just like you
Wait,
could
where
tell
are we?
that they're in that speakeasy.
Gotcha. We're back at Scopa.
You could tell that the jackets they were wearing were probably as much as my car was worth, right? Like they were just, these guys were,
Okay.
they were impressive humans. And, anyway, which is not germane to the story. And so the bartenders, I think we agreed we were going to call them bartenders, even though that's probably underselling their level of knowledge.
So we're at Scopa. The bartender has
we're
come
back in
over
the-
and told you about a
the
fake.
speakeasy. It has a name. It has a name, the speakeasy. But
I tried
for
to
the
be
life of
witty
me.
there and think of something funny, but I got
it
nothing.
was a good, I appreciate your attempt. And they had, now you'll see where it all comes back together. They had sort of a technique for how to appropriately taste some of these things, right?
Gotcha.
And the whiskey thing, you'll have to forgive, like the details are a bit fuzzy at this point. You held it in your mouth until your tongue was essentially numb. And then you finally swallowed it and then you inhaled, right? But you couldn't inhale right away or you'd cough, right? You'd pull in too much of the intense sort of alcohol fumes. And I have no idea why it mattered.
It
that
probably
your
lets the
mouth was
alcohol
sort of numb.
fall out a bit, and then you taste, because it's the aftertaste, which is really where you get a lot of the
Exactly.
flavor.
And he's like, you pay attention to the sort of flavor in your throat and the back of your tongue, and then you'll sort of. I don't know that I was sober enough or that I had sophisticated enough of a palate at the time to really appreciate the subtleties that he was pointing out. But to answer your question from, I think, 30 minutes ago, there is definitely a procedure for the appropriate way to taste these things. I'm not an expert on it.
With that said,
I'm excited.
do we need, I'm curious, you have coconut water, which isn't necessarily a palate cleanser, but
Not necessarily.
I've been drinking out of this, but I'm happy to give you some
Yep. Sounds good, but I don't know what we're going to put it. Yeah, that's fine.
at this point.
I mean, I'm not,
Actually, maybe if we drink these and then we can reuse them,
yeah.
I don't mind a little grapefruit. It's going to clean it out
It
anyway.
depends on what we're putting in there. We're putting some tequila in there, maybe, yeah.
All right, let's use fresh glasses for now. We'll use these guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare to.
So
I'm ready. I'm
I
very excited and looking forward to it.
I probably oversold it, but for me, this is the most special thing. So to give you some background, heard about this probably a year ago. I've just randomly stumbled upon some lucky finds in my day with the Utopias, just randomly at Whole Foods. Boom. I've been looking for this for a year since I heard about it. Tom actually had it, I think from a wedding or something, was the first time I tried it 2 months ago at his place. And I was like, this is actually that good, because I had heard just amazing things. And like, you have to wait in line at liquor stores to even find it. You can't get it.
Wow.
And so every single time, well, every grocery store I go to, I'm not even kidding, for the last year, not like a Ralph's, but Gelson's, Whole Foods, anything that might have this, and or liquor store. I always just look for it just to see like, maybe they'll have it. So I sent you a picture of this the other day. when I was at the Gelson's in Marina.
There were 3 things, and I'm like, I don't know
And
which one is the impressive one.
it was sold out. The guy laughed at me. I asked him if he had it in stock. I called the guy out, and because it said it had the box. Never saw that before. It was sold out, and the guy legit just laughed at me. And I'm like, well, thank you. Now I feel like even more of an asshole. So I'm at Whole Foods the other day. I go to this Whole Foods all the time down the street. It's about a half-mile walk. I go there, and I always have my headphones in because I usually walk there. I had to run over a lunch break really quickly.
Venice and Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Rose and Lincoln.
Rose and Lincoln.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they've had some random stuff from time to time. And so I was looking at like the Booker's Uncut, which is about $80. This is actually cheaper than that, but it's way more rare.
Interesting. I wonder why they don't.
So I don't know. So I'm sitting there looking like, what am I going to get for Jay for Sunday that we can try together? Maybe I'll get this Booker's. It was a little bit cheaper than the Gelson's. Gelson's is just overpriced, but it's convenient. You don't have to wait in lines.
It is
why I go there.
I love Gelson's, but
They charge too
even
much.
a small grocery trip is like $150. Like,
They just charge too much. It never has a line. So if I'm like, I just need a 6-pack or I just want to grab dinner, I'll go there because it's like in and out.
and they're fish and steak and like
They're friendly.
the service is epic. And
Yeah.
their fresh meat and fish is actually pretty legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I walk through, I look at the beer, I grabbed that one I sent you, the Russian River, which was actually, I liked it a lot. It was aged in sherry barrels. It's going to be in my video from last night, whenever that comes out.
Yeah.
And it had cherries in it. It wasn't a framboise. It was actually very light.
I like it for a
It was lighter than that, less sweet, but it had a lot of fruit to it. And so I'm looking at the bourbons, don't have my headphones in for the one time ever. And that's probably why. Who knows if they had this before and just didn't tell me. And the girl looks at me because I'm bringing up my phone trying to Google some of these bourbons. She goes, hey, by the way,
We have this.
I have one bottle of Blanton's in the back.
Look at that.
If you want. And I literally like freak out. I was like, what? You have no idea. I come here and I said every day, and I probably sound crazy at that point. I was like, I come here every day and look for Blanton's. And it's not an exaggeration to say every time I go there, I look for Blanton's. It was not mentioned on display. There wasn't an empty box. There wasn't a display tag. It just wasn't there. And she just flat out random timing. I saw her and she's like, hey, got one in the back if you want it. That was $53.
You're like, very yes. Really?
I started Googling if you want to buy like even some of the liquor stores here on Pico or some of those sell it for $200. It's just that rare. And if you look, it's like hand signed. Every little thing on it has like from barrel number 53 handwritten. Like
That's cool.
And for me, this is like
Recent.
it's not
Like it
just January. Yeah.
Bottled. Like barely a month ago.
Yeah.
Just over a month ago.
And the irony, I looked. So there's 7 different toppers. Did you know this whole story?
83 proof.
There's 7 toppers, and if you get all 7, it's a full gallop. It's one full gallop, and then it's resets.
Oh, where the horse is in different.
Yeah, and so this is number 0 or number 1, where they're not moving. And I don't know.
For Kentucky.
You don't see it because as soon as I tried it, I was like, that is better than I expected. And how can I buy more of this? Like, I'm cool paying $150 or $100 knowing that it's this good now.
You could get your hands on it.
And it's like 200, 400, 700. People charge crazy amounts. Now, there are rarer reserves than this one, but I think it's time to try it.
I'm assuming you read the whole thing, but it's interesting when you read the description. It says the time differs from barrel to barrel.
Yeah.
Like they don't set out to bottle this thing. It's during the aging process. They try one and they're like, oh yeah, this is
Similar to not to undersell the rare cask, but it's, and they do have
similar. Like that's cool.
Is it called? They have something called like rare cask or something similar to, which is more pricey.
Yeah.
This is their base stuff, and have you had this?
I have not.
You've never had a blend?
I'm not. No.
Now I'm so much more excited because hopefully I didn't oversell it. Blows my mind. This is $53, and it's just one of those. It's not expensive, which is credibility to them. They could charge absurd
2-3
amounts.
times that amount. Probably people would pay it.
I'm gonna give us a.
Nice.
Seems like a fair pour.
Yeah.
This to me, I don't know. It just genuinely it's a special thing because I truly enjoy the taste of it.
Cheers.
Cheers, sir.
Huh.
I went right in. I didn't even spend time.
No, I'm It's interesting. The nose is a little hotter, right? Like it's a little more volatile, sort of.
Tasting yours is a good contrast because this does have more heat. It's a little more bite. Sweeter. What's the...
And here I thought mine would be sweeter. Wow, it's just wildly different. Wildly different flavors.
You're not a bourbon guy, though.
I'm generally not a bourbon guy. There's a lot of fruit up front. I don't know what that is, apricot, or I'm not sure what that flavor is, but there's a lot of fruit up front. And then...
Peach?
Maybe peach. I was like that vein. Stone fruit, anyway.
Stone fruit, yeah.
And then later on, you sort of get the traditional bourbon wood kind of American oak flavor at the end, which is actually not repellent to me. Like this is pretty exceptional.
If you don't like it, you can be honest too. I'm genuinely curious because I don't want to float it just to. For me, I actually I could enjoy drinking this.
So I have been adamant in that I'm a Scotch man, and if I'm drinking something that isn't Scotch, it's Irish whiskey, and I have avoided up till now bourbon.
I like makers. I drink a lot of bourbon.
Something about the giant wood character just...
Well, do you like Tennessee whiskey, though? So if I recall, and I may screw this up, but basically to be Tennessee whiskey, you have to filter it through charcoal. To be bourbon, it has to be 51% corn or more, or greater. Basically, more than half is made with corn, and that's why it's sweet. And I actually don't eat or really enjoy corn that much. Elote is decent, but... I don't know. Bourbon for me, it's a good. I just need a kick of something. Like it's been a long day. Let me just take a quick shot and
That's Scotch for me. Yeah.
Huh. But you sip that. Well, I guess in bourbon, not that I'm ever going to shoot this, but that's where like a Maker's, the Bullet is good. This is actually, so I started doing research. This is made with the same distillery as Bullet. So this is Bullet and Pappy Van Winkle, which I've never had, but is like super exclusive, I guess.
Pappy, yeah.
Your boys in Marina are probably drinking that right now.
Yeah, probably right.
That I would love to try. I don't know the price. I've heard it's like absurdly expensive, but it's one of those, it's diminishing returns, right? It's like a lot of things in life where this to me is delicious. I could spend 4 times as much and it's a little more delicious. Audio equipment, which I clearly have spent too much money on in my day. It's enjoyable, and you get into these habits. You're very much like me, probably, where like you get into something and you don't just get into it. You learn everything about it. You dive the whole way in, and you got to just. That's what I'm doing with overlanding now, which is like.
That's it.
Very much consuming. Can you see
that video of Eugene? Like when we last went out shooting, which I know we're gonna chat about later. Like you had none of the sideboard stuff. You didn't have that tent. You didn't have any of that stuff. It was just that roll down cover thing, and that was it, right? And it's looking more and more like you're ready for the zombie apocalypse.
You haven't seen the interior either. Cool. I've got water, gas in the trunk that's mounted. I got a fire extinguisher. Always be safe.
Yeah.
A big lift, like a 3-foot lift or jack, I guess let's call it.
Yep.
Bunch of recovery gear. I've got a satellite communicator, just installed a GMRS radio, which I'll do a video on. I recorded when I installed it. And that's the other cool thing for me. It's like a science project. So I'm like under the dash, rewiring stuff, hooking it up to the auxiliary ports. Cool. Like, I just ordered lights. So, cause I've been going overnighting now and stuff, and I want to record, and I've realized you don't have as much daylight when it's not summer. So I'll have, basically they're called work scene lights, and it's 120 degree spread. It's like 3,000 lumens each.
Wow.
Crazy amount of light.
Wow.
So now I can just film at night and just like, it's going to be comical because if I'm at a camp spot, it's going to be like, what is that UFO over there? But I'd rather have light than not light. They're actually not, that's like $250 for those lights. It's just been a fun science project. And honestly, for me, I don't know, maybe it's 2020, everything, not traveling. Like that's been my escape. I've got every weekend since I got my rack finally and my tent installed. It's been 3 weeks. I've gone 3 of 3 weekends.
That's awesome.
Got back this morning. I was out last night.
Oh, wow.
It's getting more comfortable because each time I'm like, I'm wiggling. I'm not trying to spend a lot. I have a habit of like diving in and spending too much. Yeah. I got quality gear, but I got what I wanted. And it's just so, you're so unplugged out there. whether you have self-service or not, I can just kind of like focus on noises in nature and listen to a podcast and burn a campfire and cook a good dinner. And just like, to me, it's the new traveling for now, at least. And so it's a good escape, and it's brought more joy than I probably expected it to, if that makes sense. That's maybe sad, but like just being able to get out and escape at this point, wake up in that tent. Yep. I got a heated blanket.
I can't say it. So is there a generator, or you run it off the truck's batteries? It's
a 576 kilowatt hour, or watt hour. I think I screwed that up. Yeah. Battery that runs the heated blanket. Heated blanket pulls up to 180 watts, but that's max pull. So that's like as it's heating up, and then it shuts off, then it turns back on. It goes from 85 to 110. The first night out, it wasn't bad, but I had a down sleeping bag, a down blanket over top of that. Yep. And then my dog had a blanket, and she was cold. She curled up. So I got this heated blanket for $100. Yep. It's the size of a queen bed. So I can actually, what I realized is like, you don't just lay on it, you curl it over you too, and then you put the down blanket on top. My dog was like spread out completely because she was so hot. Just like, this is amazing. It was 31 and windy last night.
Wow.
And I got the best night's sleep I've had. That's it was just,
like, how many nights could you run that blanket on one charge?
With that battery, if I kept it at 85, the first night out with it, I killed the battery after about 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
So like a full night, but I kept waking up and being like, let me turn it up.
So cold.
For some reason this time, I ran it at 85 for a good 8 hours, and it had like 47% left. So for some reason, maybe the insulation was better. I did close some of the windows.
Picture of your truck? What the fuck is that guy doing?
Is he? I just put my YouTube channel on the side of the truck. I sent you that, conceptkp.com. That's the second guy that I saw, an old, very elderly guy, like probably 75.
Funny.
Taking a picture of it today too earlier. And I'm like, maybe they're actually, I didn't expect it to get views, but I was like, when I take a photo, it'll have my URL on there.
Yeah.
I wonder if people are actually now. I had a neighbor come up randomly. He saw me going out the one weekend and is like, dude, we've been seeing you do the build. Like, we're so excited for you to.
That's awesome.
Like, they saw the rack go on, and then the tent, and then all the other stuff. And like,
that's cool.
It's addicting. It's funny because I used to have BMWs, and I got into the truck, and I was like, I'm going to save so much money with this truck. It's $300 a month less. And it's like, well, now I'm buying a tent. Now I'm buying
all
this
stuff into it. Yeah.
I don't want to do like hardcore off-roading, but what I'm calling it overlanding, and it's probably a faux term using it that way. Like true overlanding, we maybe go out for a few nights, which I am going to build it up to where I could go out 3 or 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
I go places where you need a truck to go to. I do off-roading too, which like I was in basically sand, 15 degrees. We went, yeah.
My car would not go up anything. My car can't even barely go up a driveway.
I wish you guys were with me that one time. The second time I went out, and I just 30-degree hill with mud. Like, we would have both looked at that and been like, there's no way.
We're not gonna do that.
The car's stuck. We're just going to leave it here. We'll call you an Uber. And like,
it's learning what you can do and what you can't.
I got out of it though. And that's last night because I was by myself too. I got the dog. She freaks out. It was fun, but I tried to do these like pseudo off-road plus camp nights, basically. Mm-hmm. A little bit of both worlds. It's a lot of fun. I will eventually start to plot my own courses, go on BLM land, and just kind of be like, I'm going to find a camp spot here. But right now I'm using Hip Camp, which is basically like private land. I had 5 acres in the middle of nowhere. Last night was actually cool. I got some drone footage. So have you seen House of a Thousand Corpses?
No.
Have you heard of it?
House of a Thousand
Rob Zombie film.
Oh, maybe.
It's like, it's a clown, crazy clown. It's his wife, Sherry Moon, and someone else. And they like, anyway, there's this gas station. If I showed you pictures of it, I'll throw it up on YouTube. There's a gas station, which is a movie set. I was camping behind that movie set.
Oh.
They were filming on it. It's been in rap videos. They sent me a few links, the owners, but it was just kind of cool because I was like, oh, I've seen that movie, and it's a fake gas station in the middle of nowhere in the desert.
Yeah.
It has a little motel next to it, and it's been in a bunch of horror movies and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Also a little ominous. I was kind of like, I had the Glock with me. I was, didn't want to.
We'll remember to come back to that because I'm the same way.
Yeah, I don't fully load, but I have 2 loaded clips. I probably shouldn't go into too much detail, but let's just say it's ready to go. And now I have you haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen it yet.
So it's a 500 lumen kind of spotlight, and then a green, which I learned is much easier to see than red, laser scope, whatever you want to call that. Not a scope.
I haven't done lasers yet. I don't know. I haven't quite.
I like it because in this type of scenario, like actual home invasion, which is, I got it for home invasion and to learn how to shoot more. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up around guns. I know how to use them.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, it's an accurate enough target to where in a frantic moment or that type of thing. And then the 500 lumens in a condensed light is bright.
Yeah.
And I can strobe it if I really wanted to, which is going to fuck with someone. So
Mine's the same. I can switch between.
okay.
Just-
on your Kimber?
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a light, or was it not on there when we shot it?
I didn't bring it.
Okay.
But it's got a rail.
That gun, you've made me jealous. So
I love that gun.
we're gonna just go into guns now because
I'm ready.
We're
drinking bourbon. Like, I feel like guns. Maybe that's the next conversation. Guns. Hey, well, but one last question.
Yeah.
So how do you charge the battery then? Off the engine or
So
must?
there's multiple ways. My car has a true like 120 volt outlet.
Okay.
So I could plug in that way. If I'm doing it at home here, the reason I have an EcoFlow 600, not sponsored, whatever, but I actually did a lot of research. There's also Jackery. There's a few others out there. This thing charges 576 watt hours in hour and a half.
Wow.
That is, so a comparable battery
Off
that
an
I've
outlet.
seen is like 6 hours in that same time. So I got it because it charges fast. It's few ways to charge. I don't have solar panels for it.
I was just going to
They're
ask.
$200
you gonna
bucks.
Do solar?
I
Like,
will
what are you
get
gonna
solar. I have solar for USB.
do? On top of your cab? Like, where are you going to put the solar?
So, well, because I have the Rubicon, they make a hood one, which I want to get, but it's only like, I think 110 watts. It's not a big one.
Yeah.
I can get, I think, two 200 watt panels for the EcoFlow. They're just like $200 each.
I mean,
so-
it's not awful.
No, I will get it, but I'm trying to.
Where do they mount? Or do you put them on
No,
the
they're
ground?
freestanding.
I see.
So you just set them up. You can face them towards the sun.
I mean, out here,
they're not. So the battery's like, it's just like a big brick.
Yeah.
It uses the one I got, which I like too. A lot of them are proprietary plugs. This is like a normal 3-prong PC plug.
That's great.
So if it breaks, I lose it. It also does the 12 volt car adapter, so I could plug it in there. And then the solar. Those are the 3 ways to charge it. You either have AC, alternating current, solar, or 12 volt.
Yeah.
In all of which ways, this is the fastest charging one I could find, which to me is crucial because that's where you can get a big bank. So you could get a 1,000 watt hour one, right? Which is what a lot of people do. That's going to get me 2 nights with a heated blanket easily. However, it's going to take 8 to 10 hours to charge.
Yep.
My thought is with mine, I can kill it in a night, but then I can charge it in an hour and a half
Yeah,
on my drive the next day.
Yeah.
So
Assuming
that's the
you're moving.
idea.
I guess I'm thinking about a 4 or 5 day trip, like you were talking about.
You could always start the engine, I guess. Well, 4 or 5 days, I'd be moving. I'm not talking like, I want to get a van maybe at some point. That's my next thought. I thought about going, why am I blanking? Airstream. Thought about going Airstream.
Cool, you could tow it with that thing.
That thing
Sure.
does not, over 4,000 pounds, it's actually not that good with towing.
Oh, really?
Especially if I start to like lift it, throw some tires and wheels.
2-person Airstream.
It can go up
giant
to 6 or 7,000 pounds technically, but like with wind, it's already all over the road. There's
Yeah, I bet.
Jeep memes where it's like, officer, I swear I'm not drunk. It's just windy.
Yeah.
And it's not, the Gladiator's better than the Wranglers, but
Yeah.
it does, yeah, it has its issues. I love that. Like, it's funny because my X5 I loved so much. That was my dream car. It was a diesel. It was a sports car. I joked that it was like driving, like being in control of a bull
Yeah.
because it was just massive, but it drove so well and it had a diesel engine. They did throw a diesel in here, but it's a brand new engine, and I didn't want to risk reliability over power.
Yeah.
It's brand new. So this thing for now has just been so much fun because it's just so modular. And that's the problem with Jeeps and the joy with Jeeps
So
is it's
cool.
like you can upgrade every single part on that thing. And there's aftermarket parts. It's, yeah.
You basically
it's a lot of
sold
fun.
me. When Colorado happens, and then I know we're talking about that later, but when Colorado happens, like, I'm pretty sold on that.
If you, what you said was, I want to get anywhere. And what I've learned too from being on many trails now, you do not want a full size truck. I want a Raptor. I would love a Raptor. Half the trails I've gone on,
Boy, they're pretty.
Raptor would have fallen off the side because of the width. Raptors are super wide. That's why they actually have, you know, the little yellow lights on them, the amber lights. That's actually because it's as wide that it has to be classified as a commercial vehicle.
Oh, really?
Compared to the F-150. F-150 stock is not, but the Raptors are a lot wider.
Yeah.
You're going to be hard to park.
Like, I'll never take it off road. I won't really care. I just want to be able
But
to.
if you need
I
to.
want to drive up to 70 in 3 feet of snow and know that I can get from A to B.
Well, the
That's
thing is,
what I want.
here's the thing that I've learned is like you have varying levels of how far and how good vehicles can do. I've done numerous hours of research, and there's nothing better than a Gladiator in terms of truck.
This is, I think you pretty much sold me on the idea.
There will be places this can't go. I got stuck last night. I was on an 17-degree grade of soft sand. You can't get through that in anything, though. There's no car that's just going to go up that.
Right.
You need a Can-Am side by side.
Yeah.
So if
It's a
for what
four-wheel
you
drive.
want, huh?
Oh, it's 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, this is. Yeah. Do you know the Can-Am? What I'm talking about? The side by side. So it's like it looks like a. It's like an ATV, but you sit in it with seatbelts. It fits 2 people. It's got 4 wheels,
Sure.
small tires. Those can go like on dunes and stuff, right? You're jumping dunes and
Right.
doing that stuff. Those can handle some of that stuff. There's no other
Street
truck
vehicles,
that can
yeah.
get farther than it's a mountain goat.
Yeah.
Going up to 30-degree grade, 30 degrees
Yeah, that's crazy.
in mud. It was mud.
That'd be spooky.
I was terrified, and I got stuck halfway up the hill. Just seeing it be able, like, I every day don't think that has the boundaries it does. And I've learned too, like, I was using my lockers and going into Ford Low on all these things. This thing doesn't even need that half the time. I've learned now. I'm like, let me try it with this, and I'm like, oh, I just got up that without
fine.
even needing anything.
Without needing it. Yeah. That's cool.
It's so much fun.
Well, it's interesting, the battery and the heated blanket and all that. I mean, that's, in sailboats, every night before you go to sleep, you run the diesel for an hour.
Charge everything
Charge
up.
up the batteries. And then you overnight, you're charging your phones and you're running a fan and you're doing whatever you're doing overnight. And in the morning, in Catalina, you can't start your engines until like 8 a.m. or something. But 8 a.m., like every motor in the bay starts. They all start and they all run their diesel for an hour and a half while they're making coffee and they're cooking and they're showering and they're doing whatever they're doing. But like, that's the thing. You run your motor twice a day for an hour and a half, even if you're just anchoring in Catalina.
Yeah.
In Avalon Harbor, and you're staying put. You still run your motor twice a day for an hour and a half while you're cooking and drinking and whatever, playing Buffett songs on your guitar, whatever.
Yeah.
You run your engine twice a day for an hour or two to charge your batteries up to get through. Like, that's just
Makes sense.
normal. You just run your motor.
There's two interesting tangents off that, actually 3. One is I realized I had an epiphany. It's ironic you say that last night. And I was like, a boat is, we call it overlanding, is like overwatering. That's the most dumb way to say it. But it's like, oh, you have a place to sleep. You can go into uncharted territory. You're just kind of out by yourself having fun. And I was like, I never wanted a boat, but I actually might really enjoy that.
Yep.
The other thing, I don't know if you saw the stuff in Austin recently, obviously the weather, but everyone's running. So the F-150 just came out with this massive hybrid, and this will lead me into the third part. Basically what it does is it has this massive battery. It's a hybrid truck. People are running their homes. You can charge a Tesla from the amount of power this thing produces. Absurd amounts of power, and it has a generator mode. So you turn the F-150 in this mode, draws from the battery. You're talking a massive car battery, so you can power fridges, whatever, for hours.
Yeah.
Then it'll turn on the engine automatically on and off, to just keep that battery charged.
So an F-150.
Yeah, F-150, no plug, but like honestly, if I was going to go full-size truck, once I saw that, I was like, maybe. However, I pre-ordered the Cybertruck within 24 hours of it being announced.
Are you still going to do it?
Here's the thing, I have a $7,000 hold on the full autonomous driving, which is now a $10,000 upgrade. There's rumors, and Elon confirmed, when I say rumors, he tweeted, which usually he delivers, is that, oh gosh, and this is going to take me into, I have another Elon story later, we'll get there.
All right.
But he tweeted that it's going to have an overland kit, which is basically like some type of pop-out tent that comes out of the back and all this and that. I'm going to have such a struggle when that car actually releases, because it's going to be so much fun. Like, when you have torque like that, and you have, so the thing is, an electronic motor, and I forget the exact mechanics, so I'll make something up, but it can basically do traction control once every 100 millionth of a second.
Wow.
Whereas mechanical motors, gas motors, it's like once every 10,000th of a second.
Okay.
And I know those metrics are off, but I've heard Elon explain this on a different podcast. So, which makes sense, right? You've got gas mechanics, got to switch which wheels, pushing which power, yada, yada.
Right.
So it makes me think that that thing's going to be a beast off road. But when you think into how many times you smash the bottom of your car, when you run out of power, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
You can't have a battery that runs out of power and then suddenly get out of something where you can go get gas and fill it up. You can't have gas on reserve. So that's where, unless they come up with a solution where you can be out for days and figure out the range thing, I don't think, and then that plus full size, it's going to be a full size truck.
Yeah.
And just seeing most of the trails. I was on a trail yesterday and I scraped both sides of that car like crazy. And I don't mind it. Like, that's part of just the joy of owning it.
Yeah.
But doing that in a Tesla, it's like, you might fall off the side of the hill. You scraped it. He says it's going to be bulletproof to a handgun. I want both, but it's so dumb to, like, I'm not going to go that route.
You're going to have solar, right? If you're going to have an electric vehicle.
The problem is you can't get the surface area that you need to be, to do something.
To get you out of the wilderness into some place where you could
What if it's
plug in.
cloudy?
Yeah.
What if there's trees?
Well, if you're talking Colorado, though, there's other problems like temperature.
Yeah. With the batteries and everything?
Not very friendly batteries, right?
Yeah. So they said, he rumored there would be a, it covers the bed, which would be a solar panel. But that'll get you, I think, I forget his exacts, but that's probably going to get you a few miles after a full day's charge, best case. Maybe like 4 or 5 miles, which might be enough.
Might be enough to get you down someplace where you could recover.
What was the honest feedback on this?
I legit could see myself buying a bottle of this.
Well, first off, if you don't and you ever see a bottle, buy it for me.
I'm not giving you this. I'm not keeping it. No, this was really tasty. I am genuinely surprised at how much I enjoyed that. Yeah. And not just like the premise, but
Sorry, folks.
sorry, not just the premise, but like that stone fruit flavor was really surprising, and the mildness and mellowness of that sort of green wood kind of flavor just wasn't there. Like, it was really
Yeah.
pretty great.
Blanton's does a good job. And yours, it's tough to contrast because a lot of whiskeys,
Very different.
I would have been like, well, there's too much bite, or like it's good, but there's something like the Chivas 36. There was just, it wasn't smooth like that. The Blanton's and the Macallan. Macallan? How do you say it?
I don't know. I'm good with whatever.
I said it
however you
fancy,
say it.
but you said it in
McKellen.
McKellen.
They kind of said in Scotland. They kind of said
Scotland?
they kind of pronounced it McKellen, but
I believe you. That's why I'm genuinely trying to learn. I'm not trying to make fun.
no.
I'll do both, but
Sure.
I'm also trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Do we try beer?
Well, now this is going to be a big question because I think we're going to have to think about which beer is going to be the most impactful on.
Do you want the worst beer first? Because I know which one is going to be worse for you, but I'm going to make you try it.
What do you think is going to wreck your palate the most for being?
I think mine will actually clean it a bit, but it's not going to be one. I think you may like it, but you're going to look at it and you're going to smack me. I'm going to lean back.
Ready?
Do you want to try this one?
So
I got it kind of to mess with you.
If you had to think about, I mean, obviously if either of us has like a subtle German, I'm going to move these to the end because these are spent. If either of us had like a German Pilsner kind of beer, a sour IPA. I mean, there's that. How is that not palate wrecking? So if you had to think about, if either of us had like a clean German beer, obviously that would have to come first. Because
I don't have that. I have a heavy.
I don't either. I also have something sour. Which I know
You
is
brought a
shocking.
sour?
I know it's shocking. I know how much you enjoy sours.
I don't even believe you.
So if you had to talk about hoppy, sour, or bourbon barrel aged,
Should we just bring out the
which do you
beers and
think
talk about them?
is the one that's going to make it difficult to appreciate?
To me,
beers done?
so here's the thing, right? Sour actually cleans your palate, right? They bring out lemon sorbet.
We should do the two sours then.
I'm good with that.
One sour and then I.
Do you disagree though? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
let's.
Because usually the palate cleanser is citrusy.
I mean, there's the grapefruit,
or the grapefruit water.
right?
Well,
All right.
yeah. Are we using it?
I'm gonna
you
do some coconut water now because I mean sour.
Are we doing this one? We don't have to. Okay, this is.
You want to grab my sour?
Which one's yours?
The tinfoil wrapped. Yep.
Yours is probably a lot better.
This is a once a year kind of thing.
Are we going to
Sorry.
bake this?
Like I thought,
Smog City.
I'll keep it quiet. Smog City. I was just there. They finally reopened the tap room. Once a year, they do one of these. This is
Torrance.
here.
So it's just a sour. There's no.
It's like a peach.
Ooh. Yours is for sure going to be better than mine.
It's probably going to be.
Have you seen a sour
milder.
IPA?
Yeah, I know they exist. I've not had one. I'm worried that the hoppiness is gonna. Maybe we should try this first.
Okay. I assure you, yours is probably better. So,
Who knows? Better, worse. It's all in the taste.
Smog City Sour Collection from Torrance, California, folks. Established in 2011. They've not been around that long.
They've not been around that long. We should do a tulip wine glass type shape for this. I think. Oh, that's a.
Was this yours or mine?
That's yours, but that's a crazy. What if it's gonna have bourbon in there?
I'm running out of glasses, Jay. Here, let me do this.
Yeah. You apparently need more glasses. Yeah, swish.
I am a single man.
Swish that and pour that. Yeah,
34s.
there you go.
I was just going to use this. Now
Yeah,
it's
great.
chilled. I got a nice chilled glass.
Yeah.
Showing off here. Is there a special way to pour these?
Yeah, you
'Cause
know,
they're
at an
actually
angle, you don't want to foam it up too hard.
You don't like head?
Who does it?
How we haven't determined the beer pours, so
I think that's great. The one that intimidates me the most is that bourbon barrel aged.
that's a 14 or 20%.
Yeah, it's a biggie. I want to say mid-teens. All right, I'm not a sour guy.
Have you had this?
I have not. This is my first stab at this.
Did you
beer.
do this for me?
I did this for you.
Jay, you're a sweetheart.
I am a nice man. I mean, it smells
Oh fuck, that's good.
like funk. Huh.
It's so fresh and clean and just it tastes like lemonade on a sweet day in the summer.
So when I'm doing sours, this isn't particularly tart. When I'm
Really?
doing sours, I don't think. Of course, I mean, we've
I think this is more tart than what I'm going to present, to be honest, because it's
tequila, scotch, bourbon. I mean, my palate is impacted at this point. So normally when I do sours, I am a 3-sip kind of guy. First sip, I sort of, it's a bit of a shock, right?
8.8.
Yeah, it's
I was going to say sours are usually low.
it's a big beer. I mean, bacteria is a frightening creature.
Wine barrel aged sour blonde. Sour blonde, okay. Re-fermented with fresh pressed Riesling, brewed in collaboration with our friends at J Bricks. J Bricks. J Bricks.
Do you get the Riesling grape? I mean, I kind of get
Now
it.
that you say that, yeah.
Right.
There's a wine.
So usually the first sip, it's like a shock. The palate's like, what the fuck just happened? The second sip, I'm like, okay, maybe I don't hate this so much. And by the third sip of a sour, I'm starting to settle in.
Sorry.
And my palate is adjusted, and I'm enjoying it at that point. It just takes 2 or 3 sips before I can settle in to a sour.
If I closed my eyes and you made me taste this, I would tell you it's wine.
It is not far off a dry,
Riesling.
a bubbly Riesling, kind of, right?
Because Rieslings I do not enjoy. They're way too sweet. But
They're very sweet.
This is tart
You know they make
and tangy.
a dry Riesling is a thing. I've only
That's
had
dumb.
it. I know it doesn't make sense, but a dry Riesling is a thing. I've had it once. I've only ever had a bottle once. I don't remember where. It was within the last. This is going to sound stupid. It's since I moved out here. Within the last 10 years, I've had it. So I don't remember where I came across it, but there is such a thing as a dry Riesling, and it was fantastic. But it's like saying dry Moscato.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
can't-
Like I don't want you.
it doesn't make any sense. Right?
Call it something else. I don't know. I don't like that idea because the whole reason you get a wine varietal is because you know it's going to taste kind of like something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm conflicted on that.
It's a thing.
It's like Coke Zero.
That shouldn't be a thing. I don't know.
It's so funny when you go to Europe because I actually don't mind Coke Zero that much, and I don't even drink Diet Coke, all that. But it's funny because I don't see Coke Zero a lot in the U.S. at all.
Yeah.
You see Coke, Diet Coke, and everyone drinks Diet Coke, and they're usually overweight, which is comical. But everyone I know that drinks diet soda is typically overweight, and you're like, there's other areas you got to focus on.
I'm gonna sound like a dick, but I think they're overcompensating for
Exactly. It's like I'm gonna eat these fries and hamburger, but I'm gonna get that Diet Coke and just
that'll balance it somehow.
it's gonna balance out.
The 8,000 carbs.
But Coke Zero, like for some reason, it's so big in Europe. I feel like every time I go, I see a ton of Coke Zero. I don't know.
Interesting.
Have you had Pepsi Clear?
I remember when Pepsi Clear came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that I enjoyed it.
You remember it was funny. My family, we did like a blindfolded, legit blindfolded each other taste test of like all the different things.
Clear
Yeah.
Pepsi.
I don't even remember if we could tell the difference, but
I was a teen, I think, when it came out. I'm talking like
am I aging myself?
high school. I mean, it was like mid 80s.
I remember. I was born in 87, so
Came out.
it was around. My sister kept. She might even still have them.
See, this is why I kept my phone handy.
She had cans in our basement for years after a while. And like, it was a big thing, like, don't open these. But I know we did it.
your Pepsi
I thought it would have been like 94 if I had to guess. I'm calling 94.
When did Pepsi Clear come out?
When did Pepsi Clear come out? We need.
1992? Really? That late?
I've got a good memory.
I guess I thought it was late 80s. Okay, fine. Early 90s. I guess.
Look at you and your 2-camera iPhone. How old are you?
You know,
Aren't you a CTO, sir?
this is like an anchor to real life. I don't. I'm not a huge
valid.
fan.
I do remember how much you hate your cell phone when you travel.
Appetize.
I wish I could take you to this bar. Such a random thought right now, but in Lithuania, it's called Alchemika's. Honestly, the best bar I've ever been to. In terms of mixed drinks, it's the most creative, thoughtful. Every drink takes 5 to 10 minutes to make.
Wow.
You can go there and be like, so I like absinthe, but sweet and tart. And they'll be like, I got you.
I got something for you.
And just whip up this crazy, crazy concoction. And it's one of the best drinks you've ever had. Like any combination, bourbon, sweet, and dry. And they'll like, in those contrasts, but they'll figure it, like, it just blew me away. And every time I went there, I would go to Alchemika's.
That's awesome.
I have pictures of that. I'll try to throw up pictures if I can in this.
We had such a good time. Honestly, you and I were
Poland?
traveling.
The Zebi Konkas?
Like, so we had such a good time.
That was a fun.
Even
I want to go
being
back and visit. I'm going to, so I'm planning to go backpacking at some point through Europe and Asia. I've got friends over there that are like, let's meet up in Asia. I
What did you say? Even being snowed into Frankfurt, we still had a good time.
What did you?
Around trying to find a place.
You tried to order like, give me a double of bourbon. It was like 40 euros, and they like poured a single and a half.
Turn around, I'm like, what are you doing? That is not 2 fingers of scotch. What are you doing? She had no idea. She had no idea. She was
trying to find flights. I remember. that.
like 22-year-old whatever, and she had no idea.
You just measured everything, and you're like, just pour one.
Just pour me a decent drink.
And wasn't it super expensive? We knew we could expense it, but
It was really pricey. Yeah.
that was funny.
That was a great time. We had a great time. We went
The beer places
2 or
there.
3 times. Twice. You and I went together.
At least twice, yeah.
Yeah.
That sandwich shop.
Yeah. With
I don't remember the
Cuban,
name.
with the ham and
my
the
God.
surfboards on the wall.
Skateboards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have. Yeah. That's right. Skateboards. Not
Yeah.
Skateboards.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
great.
I remember that everyone had tap, touch, contactless.
Except us. 'cause
Except those were like, we don't even have EMV yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sign this. I remember going back the next day and she's like, you didn't sign the receipt yesterday and they declined our batch. Can you please sign your receipt today? And I'm like, first off, they don't decline a batch if they don't have a signature, but
Come on.
happily sign it.
It's so different the way that works. Yeah. This is all right, isn't it?
I like it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to drink fast. I don't know why. I'm in that mood.
I was faster on the bourbon for sure.
You were. I was
faster on
telling my
power.
story, so
Yeah, that's good.
I don't even know a story. Overlanding. Talked a little bit about guns. Oh, I didn't get into what guns I wanted to buy.
Well, then I mean, drinking a peach flavored sour
Suck it up, sir.
is maybe not the time to talk about guns, but you know what? Let's talk about guns.
So I've got the G17 Glock.
Yeah.
Still on the fence. Should I gone G19, G17? The problem is, so California only lets you hold 10 rounds regardless.
Right.
It's super weird. So in
For a
2020, there was like,
45 is only 8 rounds. For a 9, it's 10.
well, but there was a weird window in 2020 where
Yeah, they
it got
sold the
unbanned.
expanded
They
clip.
sold normal clips. If you
Yeah.
bought it, you were grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how do they prove it? Because clips are not regulated. Now, bullets, every time you buy bullets in California, they swipe your ID and
Yes.
it's registered to you,
Yeah.
which I learned. That's what I bought. Way more bullets than I should have because I was like, well, fuck, I finally found them.
Yeah.
So let me get some 9mm because they're not going to go bad.
Yeah.
I grew up around them. Anyone who buys a gun, it was terrifying being in the stores buying a gun, first off. And California sucks because plus coronavirus, all this shit, you basically like, you go, normal procedure should be you go, you take a test, you wait 10 days, you get your gun. You do a background check when you take your test, if you haven't taken it already.
Yeah.
I now have my test. My test is good for 5 years. The gun took, I don't know, 3-4 months to get.
Yeah.
And I literally had to negotiate. I wanted a different gun entirely. And they're like, well, that's going to take 6 to 12 months. So I was like, well, okay, I'll get a Glock. What Glock should I get? I was going to get a G43, which is more like, it's actually like a range target practice competition shooter.
Yeah.
And I grew up with guns. That's where I trust myself. Like, Glocks are not a gun for a new person that has never shot a gun. It doesn't have a right safety. Like, you need to know how to operate it. You need how to know to check if it's loaded or not. You need a press check, etc.
Yep.
I was there with people that are like literally walking up to the counter going, I need a 45. And they're like, sir, that's a caliber. Like, what do you need? And they're like, I just need a 45. And they're like, well, that's again a caliber.
Yeah.
I had a woman, elderly woman, I'm not going to go into anything else, but like she went there and she was talking to me because she saw me. This is when I finally was getting my gun. It was actually the background check 10 days before the gun.
Yep.
And I had all my stuff, paperwork, passport.
Ready to go.
I researched this because why waste time? And
Yeah.
you're waiting 2 hours just to get into the store at this point.
Surf it all and be ready.
Know how to be ready. And she's like, I just need a gun. And I was like, well, ma'am, do you have, your ID? Have you taken your test yet? Do you have your FSC? Like, she didn't know what any of this was. And she's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, should I just go buy mace? I'm like, well, first off, maybe look up how this procedure works.
Yeah.
But also you're in that much danger, what's going on. And my number one advice, where I'm going with all this, is I saw a lot of scary stuff. Just go to a range, learn how to operate a gun.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be your gun. Learn how to load it, learn how to load bullets, learn how to check if it's loaded, learn how to shoot, learn how to control it properly, learn how to lock it properly,
Yes.
learn how to clean it. Don't just go buy a gun because everyone's freaking out, because we all need a gun. We all are in that mode where it's like shit could hit the fan any day now.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you don't know how to use it. We're all fucked, and then we're even more fucked because more people have guns that don't know how to use them. So my number one advice is like I'm all in support of regulation to extent of education, but don't. Yeah, that's probably where I should hard stop. Like, just educate, learn what you're doing before you go do that. And that's where I did get a Glock because it was easily accessible. So the G17 over G19, the G19 is what the SEALs use. The G17 holds 17 rounds. G19 holds 15 rounds. That's really the only difference. There's a half-inch barrel difference. And then the clip itself, what I learned is actually, so the G17 clip fits on the G19. Anyway, so you can have it a little bit, it sticks out the bottom. However, it's only 10 rounds in California anyway. Now, when I moved to Colorado, I can get a full clip and all that.
Yeah.
My thing is, I want a gun, A, for home invasion, self-protection. Hopefully it never happens.
Yep.
Be safe.
I don't think that counts.
At this point, this is wood. This is
That'd be
bamboo.
wood.
It's bamboo.
All right. I'll buy that.
I want fun shit. So I'm going to go camping a lot. I want a 45 mag, revolver, because a revolver is not a home invasion, not a self-defense, but it's a big fucker.
Yeah.
And it's fun to go to a range and shoot a 45. It's gonna be 44 mag. Did I mess that up? It's 44 mag.
44.
Yeah.
All right.
There's not a 45 mag. I just made up a caliber.
45 AC. Yeah.
It's a 44.
I'm all right with that.
Anyway, and I want a lever action.
Really?
Yeah. It's so much how fun would like even a 22 just give me a lever action. I just want fun stuff at this point. I got my home defense thing. Probably a shotgun is always smart.
A shotgun is my next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I just lost so much credibility by saying 45 mag. It's 44 mag.
You can just edit that out.
Anyway,
it'll be fine.
I'm not going to edit it.
I have a friend who bought a 50 cal Desert Eagle, and it actually had a barrel. It came with a barrel you could swap out and shoot 44. And so we went and shot them both. Just wildly different. I mean, the 44, I was expecting it to be an impressive round, and it was. It was crazy, but the 50 caliber was just nuts. It was a lot of fun to shoot.
And that's what's fun, right? Like that's not actually a practical gun.
Otherwise, I don't know what you do with it otherwise.
You get one round on target. If that's not on target,
it was so heavy.
Yeah,
it was so ridiculously heavy. Although, because there's so much steel involved, like the recoil was surprisingly minimal in shooting a 50 caliber round. But it's so heavy. I mean, it makes sense that it would absorb so much recoil.
I shouldn't tell you this, but
awesome.
Tom and I went out and shot my Glock. And even he said, your Kimber is, I dream about your Kimber. Like, I need one of those. And if I go 45 for sure, and I know they make 9s also, but the trigger, and that's the problem with the Glock. We both realized there's so much pull.
Oh my gosh.
And so you're way off target. The funny thing too, so with the laser, or what do I want to call this? It's a laser scope.
You can see yourself.
You're so inaccurate. And you're like, you're like, I'm dead centered. And the whole thing's squiggling everywhere.
Yeah.
And when you have the extra pull, it's like, so you pull halfway, you think
that much.
Yeah, you pull halfway, but you're still way off. You're like, and we were shooting 20, 25 feet, which is not too far, but far.
For home invasion.
We were hitting targets and stuff, but yeah, you realize how off that is. And that's where I'm like, okay, this is a good starter gun. Learn it, get comfortable with it, operate it. It's good if I'm out in nature. It's good if I'm camping. I have protection. I feel good by myself, but yeah, I don't know. The 44 mag, like wildlife, a bear. My 9mm could stop a bear.
Well, you'd have to unload a clip to put down a bear.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want to ground camp. That's why I'm in the 10 anyway. Like the bear's not getting up to me in that thing, or if it's trying to, I'm going to be able to easily do some shit to it.
Yeah.
But a shotgun's probably smart at some point and fun. Oh, I didn't tell you about that too. So I was nailing targets, right? Like we went out and I was just target.
Yes, you were. It was Tom just couldn't hit.
I had video. I did release part of the YouTube, and it's funny because it's me shooting a target, and you just throw your arms down like, "Fuck this! How are you hitting these?" Tom and I went. He hit every target. I was like 1 for 10.
Just off.
I was so off, and I'm like, "Did you change the scope? You did something. Like, what's going on here?"
I like his shotgun.
His shotgun's fun. It's very shotgun. It's a shotgun.
Yeah. Now, you could take your Glock to a gunsmith and get a much tighter trigger. I don't know what it would cost.
Yes.
But you could get a trigger with a much shorter pull installed, right? Like you could do it.
So the gun was like 570 plus tax. Terran Tactical is based in California. He actually built John Wick's guns. He does a lot of tactical training.
That's cool.
A lot of cool shit. I want to get his scopes, but you can send a Glock to him, and I think it's $1,100. And they will basically make it competition ready.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, do I do that, or do I spend $1,100 and get a Kimber?
And get a Kimber, yeah. Mine was, like $1,250-ish.
Yeah. And there's something about a stock. It's same with a car, right? The more you do to a car, the more risk
mine was still stock. I put different grips on it, and I put a magwell on the bottom, but
that's not
basically the same gun.
Yeah, that won't change the raw mechanics. How often do you clean? Because that's what I was going to ask. I didn't clean mine. I put 100 rounds through it, let's call it, and I haven't cleaned it yet.
Every time I shoot.
Should I clean it? What's the recommendation? Especially on a Glock, which is like dragging through sand
Glocks,
and mud.
you could drop a Glock in the sand and it would still going to shoot just fine. Kimbers are 1911s in general, and Kimbers, like you should not. Like you should clean it.
Okay. I asked them for 1911, and they were like, yeah, that's 6 to 12 months. And I was like, I'm not going to wait up to a year to have my first gun. Like, let me get a starter gun, and then I don't need to go crazy and buy a bunch of stuff, but
whether I put 50 rounds or 100 rounds or more, I clean it every time I shoot. Because, like, if I hear something in the middle of the night, I just want it to be as ready as it can be.
Makes sense.
And God forbid I should actually have to discharge that thing in my own defense. Like, hopefully that never, ever happens. But if I do, I want it to be as ready as it can be. And so
I hear you.
because that's the reason for it, it's not like I enjoy shooting it. We had a great time when we went out in the middle of the desert and shot.
Butter.
That was a lot of fun.
Butter.
It's such a great gun. But, really the purpose is to defend myself and my wife and her kids and our dogs and whatever. Like that's the real point of that gun for me. And so I clean it.
So my concern is, and the thing I've but researched is guns are not complex. Most guns are just like
pretty simple.
There's a spring, a barrel, a firing pin.
Yeah.
That might be it.
There's a few more pieces.
I'm nervous.
1911, but they're pretty straightforward.
Again, I haven't cleaned mine, so I'm making stuff. I have a cleaning kit, but I'm more nervous about taking it apart and fucking it up than I am about not cleaning it because it's a Glock. And I'm like, which is risk reward? Like, what's actually the smarter move here?
There are pieces that I don't clean as often, the firing pin and such on the Kimber, which maybe you don't have to clean as often.
You just clean the barrel mostly?
Mostly.
Because of all the residue?
Yeah. The firing
Is it
pin
rifled? Are handguns rifled?
a little bigger deal.
Probably not. Maybe a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, that's why I got the 17 has a longer barrel. And everyone's like, well, ballistics, it's not going to make a difference, but aim, it will.
Aim it will. Same with the Kimber. Like, it's a longer barrel, 4.5 or whatever.
Okay. And I'm not concealed carrying. I'm not concerned about any of that. I just want
about that.
Let me get, and I got mine last September, or I ordered it last September. So it was more like, stuff's going on in the world. Let me just, I literally lived near the riots. I saw 3 helicopters, all that shit going on. And it's like, I
hate that.
Can support some of that and support the whole, like, people are going to do stuff, but you got to be prepared for yourself.
Yeah.
That's more, we can have earthquakes. People turn on each other.
To clarify, I don't hate riots like that. I understand people had something that they wanted to be heard, and fine. I just, I hate the helicopters. I had never experienced that before LA.
No, and to me,
helicopters hovering and the spotlights shining down. You're like, what? Some joker is a half a block away with a knife or a gun or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's LA, man.
That's what I mean is, like, I'm now living on a first floor apartment, and I've been within, like, I saw the National Guard on my block walking past my apartment, and I'm like,
crazy.
I don't want anything to happen, but I just want to be ready. It's why I have water filters. It's why I have everything ready to go if I need to. And that's where I mean, like, in terms of support, I support the ownership and a fact of passive security for yourself.
Yeah, we're not preppers or whatever the name is.
I kind of feel like,
right? But like we have a 50-gallon drum of treated water that's ready.
That I'm jealous of. I have a 3-gallon.
Yeah, they're not that expensive.
And water filters.
I mean, they take up a lot of space, but they're not expensive.
You have a house, though.
We have decent storage. And we have food for 4 people for a month, maybe. Enough, like, if LA completely fell apart, we could shelter in place with enough ammunition and a gun or two, and got my dad's old shotgun and some ammo for that. And like, we've got enough that we could, like, literally board up the windows. We have plywood. We bought plywood to, like, cover the windows.
I was gonna say, I'm fucked. Like, my only option is bug out, and I've got Ocean or Jeep. And my problem is we're all landlocked.
They make a metal window bar thing that kind of has, like, brackets, and you install the brackets and they expand. They kind of telescope these things. Huh. So they store, like, in the shape of a bar, but you pull out of the closet and you telescope it and you snap it into these brackets, and your window is legit covered with a metal bracket. Yeah, it's a thing. You should check it out. They sell rolls of chainmail armor as well. And you can buy a roll that fits your window, and there's brackets, and you store the roll, it's this big, and you stack it upright in your closet. And if shit hit the fan, you pull out this roll of chainmail armor, and you're like, snap, roll it down, snap the bottom.
There's two, I guess. There's two fundamental approaches when this happens. There's probably three. Mine is agility and avoidance, and mine is bug out. Get somewhere outside of the scenario. In this apartment, my last apartment was on the 3rd floor. I had four key fob scans just to get to my floor.
Wow.
Like no one's getting in there. So I was like, cool, I'm good. Like I'm just gonna chill in this apartment. I'm good. Here, there's no chance. There's open windows. Like if someone wants in here, they're getting in here very easily. So my only option here is to bug out. And honestly, I don't want to lie. Like very minimally, but part of the reason is the move to Boulder is like that's a community. Yeah. People are going to trust each other. Easy to bug out if I needed to, but I don't think people are going to turn on each other there. Here, I don't even mean like, let's not go political, but bad earthquake with loss of reserves, loss of water, loss of gas. It's just, it is scary. Like I wish we had a better sense of community and ability to help each other.
LA. In any sense.
We saw how coronavirus, like that treated everyone. Everyone turned on. It's so awkward walking around with, I've got a mask on, someone right in front of me has a mask on and they're still going to walk across the street just to,
Yep.
And it's like, we're both being respectful. Can we not?
Yep.
So I don't know. I want to be respectful of people's boundaries.
I think there's two ways out of the city. If everything falls apart, there's two ways out of the city: a motorcycle or a boat.
Yes.
You are not going to get out of this city in a car.
Even my Jeep, like I could go around stuff. No,
unless you're literally
the highways
going through people's front yards and you're mowing down mailboxes. Bam.
Not even, because any highway is going to be complete landlocked, and that's where a motorcycle might get fucked.
At some point, you have to get through the pass.
Yeah.
Any direction that you go in LA, maybe south if you go through Irvine, there's not a mountain range that you technically have to drive through to get down out into the deserts between here and San Diego.
But how are you getting out there anyway? That's so far.
Like to get around Long Beach and actually get down there from here, it's not going to happen. You either have to have a motorcycle so that you can get around cars, and even then you're exposed. Anybody could shoot you. Maybe you get lucky and you ride up the side and you'd be all right.
Yeah.
Or it's a boat.
Or someone steals your bike or hits you to steal your bike.
Knocks you down and takes your bike. Even if they don't know how to ride a bike, they might knock you down and take it.
For me, where my proximity, it's water, and my only option right now, because I own it, is a paddleboard. And I've thought I have literally backpack. I would have a backpack of food and water / cleaning, like ways to filter water, not salt water. I'm not going to drink ocean water, but that, and basically like hopefully camp gear that can stay dry.
Our food packs are ready to go. About a month worth of food for 4 people, and we can
So you're a bunker down.
In a couple minutes, we can take it and go. And so the boat that we have, like we could get to that boat thanks to the motorcycle. I think we could get to that boat and get out. At least get over to Catalina. Maybe the
world's going to know this, so you got to be careful.
So I think I told you this story. Yeah, don't take my boat. I think I told you this story about one of the guys who taught me to sail here in LA. I didn't know how to sail.
Mr. Glass?
I didn't know how to ride.
Not Mr. Glass?
No, it was just Blue Water Sailing. Not that they're a sponsor of your show, but they taught me how to sail. And one of the captains...
Blue Water Sailing. Call me.
One of the captains said that he runs a business. Can't remember the guy's name. He was pretty crazy. He would help wealthy people. Have I not told you this story? He would help wealthy people prep a boat legit for the big earthquake when it hits or the zombie apocalypse. And so
you're safe in the water.
Yeah.
What's an earthquake going to do in the water? I'm not.
Once you get out,
maybe cause a tsunami.
Maybe a tsunami, but the way
you're probably okay.
Like the earthquake's going to happen on San Andreas, right, or near there.
It's going to push it out.
It's not going to be. The wave's not going to come into LA that way. And so he would help wealthy people buy and provision a boat with weapons, firearm. Like he would help them, firearms, he would help them pick the boat that had the most water capacity and the most fuel capacity possible, the easiest to sail, stable, right? And he would stock these boats with food and water and MREs and whatever, guns, ammo, the works. Obviously.
Have you ever had an MRE?
Yeah, they're like it depends on the MRE, but at least you're not dying. Like it's something.
Touche.
like obviously they had to purchase their own guns, right? But he would outfit them with ammo and the works, and he would get this boat ready, and he would go out once a month. He'd run the boat, maintain it, fill it up, make sure it's good.
Oh, so he's doing
He would
yachting.
do all the service and get the boats ready for these people, right? These rich people who are like, here's, $1 million. Get me a boat that I can sail
Yeah.
and get out of the city when I need to. And he had a business. He had dozens of clients who.
Well, around here. You're
Yeah,
gonna get-
I mean, it makes sense. There's so much money.
if I had the money, I'd be like, yeah, just take
do
care of it.
this.
Let me know where it is.
Give me a 42 catamaran that has all this shit. And so he like made a business out of this and still does, it's to my knowledge to this day, is help these people maintain these getaway boats if LA actually falls apart. But he was always, he was half joking, I suspect half not. He's like, well, I know where all these boats are. And some of these folks live in like,
That's actually half scary. You go rob him.
and he's like, they live in La Cañada. Like, okay, you're going to actually make your way to Marina del Rey in,
You don't want to.
so that's an hour
Good
and a half
luck.
on a good day.
You need a jet ski to go around.
Lucky, you might drive to the marina from La Cañada on a really good day, maybe. If the world had fallen apart, like, you're not going to make it. And he's like, I know where all these boats are, and I have keys to them all. And he's like,
Oh, that's true. Yes, Keith. So you go rob this guy.
you go rob this guy.
What's?
He's out of here, yeah. I won't say his name. I can't remember his name, honestly.
Are we doing sour number 2?
I think probably, right? IPA.
We got 2 heavy hitters to finish.
We have some beer coming. I don't know how we're going to even, I'm not planning on finishing that sour. You might have some drinking to do after I'm out of here.
Oh, in the bottle.
Still some in there.
We'll figure that out later. This is more for tasting. So we have 3 more beers.
This should be the bourbon barrel aged stuff.
Okay.
That's the appropriate glass.
This is
for
cheap.
that.
This is going to be the worst beer we have. So should we just do the Scotch glasses because we forgot? This is what I was going to put the Blanton's
What
in.
was in that glass?
I actually cleaned this, sir.
I'm
I'm going to drink out of this one.
not buying your words. I mean, I hear your words.
This went through the dishwasher.
That's crazy.
Sir.
I really enjoy this glass. It's a cool shit.
This was the coolest brewery. Katie Boyle. I know you're probably going to watch this episode. She took me to this brewery in DC.
Who did?
I'll give you a little more. Katie Boyle. She's a good friend from.
Hi, Katie.
I actually invited her to a podcast. We worked together throughout college. She's been in the service industry for a long time, meaning like restaurant service.
Yeah.
Lives in UK now. Fun fact: I've only been to. That's actually like. Should we just? As I shake it around, so
You get all the
getting some head.
sludge poured in there.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
I don't think we're gonna like this one.
I mean, it smells like a great IPA.
It's good. It's a sour IPA, and I'd never heard of sour IPAs, and this is the first one I tried.
It smells like very
I was like,
fresh.
I'm gonna make Jay try this
sour.
just to fuck with him.
It smells like very fresh. Like if you took hot pellets and you crushed them in your hand,
Don't even know what hop is.
that's what this smells like. Very fresh. It must be the sour acidity that's kind of. I think I would struggle had I
reaction.
not already had
The Smog City.
the sour. I think I would struggle, but it's actually, it has kind of fun grapefruit notes. It has all. I mean, that just may be the acidity
I should read about what
bringing
it says.
out the grapefruit.
Epic Brewing.
Epic
IPA sour.
Make some interesting things. I have had beers.
Denver. Oh, they're Denver.
They're in Denver. I've had beers from Epic that I have loved and beers that I have hated from those guys, but I kind of love that. That they're willing
This?
to.
Or in
No,
general?
that
Epic.
they're willing
Epic.
to experiment and push and try things. Like, I think that's pretty amazing.
The next one, and I actually sent it to you already, so you know what it's going to be. But that I'm a big fan of their brewery out of Washington. Love their beer.
I mean, it's entirely pleasant. You don't really get that. I mean, I get a little bit back here, but it's not
Yeah.
like a sour.
Exactly. Why I like this, it's half IPA, half sour. It's not one way too much or the other. It's kind of right in between.
Yeah, it's nice.
Like it's clearly a sour. You wouldn't try this and be like, oh, that's a good IPA, or you wouldn't try to be. Well, you might try to be like, it's a good sour, but
I wonder how they ferment it. So I'm sure, perhaps
We combine the clean, puckering tastiness of kettle souring with an abundance of
Kettle
juicy,
souring.
citrus-driven
Okay.
hops to create the beer that's best of both worlds. What's
answers
kettle
the
souring?
question. So there's a couple ways that you make a sour. You either introduce bacteria as opposed to yeast. Yeast is a fungus.
Okay, let's like just spooning bacteria in. What's bacteria?
When you set out to ferment a beer, you need some kind of microorganism to consume sugar.
Yeast is a micro.
Yeast is the normal approach. It's a fungus. Yeast is.
No shit.
Yeah. And it consumes the sugar. And in the beginning, it consumes sugar and oxygen to reproduce. And once all the oxygen is gone, sorry to get nerdy on you. Then the yeast.
Can I pause real quick here? Reproduce. Do organisms reproduce in the sense that we think of reproduction?
Some of it's asexual, but
Okay.
yes, essentially, roughly.
So the yeast is.
I think, this is a good question.
Are we drinking
I
yeast?
can admit my yeast spooge, yeah. So the yeast consumes sugar and it consumes oxygen in the beginning to reproduce, and until all the oxygen is consumed, right? And at that point, it switches gears and it starts producing CO2 and reproducing less as it consumes the sugar. And it produces some other trace gases and volatiles and weirdness, and that all burns off over time.
How do you? Okay, can I pause throughout various parts here? Is that cool?
I'm ready.
Because you're brewmaster. For anyone that doesn't know, like this is
I've been brewing for some time.
half tech, half brew.
It's just a matter of time until I can.
How do you release? I don't know the chemistry nor the systems, mechanics, hardware. Let's call it hardware that brews beer, builds beer, makes beer, creates beer.
Sure.
How do you release some gas without releasing others unless it's based on weight or unless it's is that a valid question?
The gases that you want to get rid of?
Yeah, because you're saying so the fermentation process releases certain gases and others. Like, are they all contained in the beer still, or are some
no.
released and some are?
If they do, you would taste it. You would taste sour apples, or you would taste grass, or you would taste Band-Aids, or you would taste
wait, what?
like iron, like a iron blood.
What does a Band-Aid taste like?
Plastic. Have you ever smelled a Band-Aid?
Have you licked a Band-Aid?
No, thankfully.
How do you know what it tastes like then?
Maybe I have. I don't know.
How are we?
Just that sensory profile of what a Band-Aid smells like. It's like that kind of character.
Are you sniffing Band-Aids? Are we talking like one of the fabric Band-Aids or one of the plastic
Still
Band-Aids?
one of the plastic ones. One of the
Okay.
old school plastic Band-Aids.
Okay. They don't breathe.
You can find that if you have a serious flaw in your beer, that is a flavor that can be
Band-Aid.
used.
That's a qualified
Normally
flavor from a tier 2.
through a wild
beer connoisseur.
bacterial infection in your beer. If you don't have, it's bad news. If your beer tastes like Band-Aid, it's really bad.
Well, it's worse that you know what Band-Aid tastes like. But
It may be, but I'm comfortable with that. So when the yeast gets to the end of the cycle, the sugar is consumed to the extent that the yeast is capable of consuming it. And different yeasts can consume different amounts of sugar, which get you sweeter or drier.
higher
beers.
alcohol content.
Yes, if it's a drier beer, generally it can be a higher alcohol content. Although, if you're talking about a giant imperial stout, there's still a lot of residual sweetness, right? Intentionally, so that you balance the alcohol.
Imperial stouts are sweet.
They are. They're very sweet. Yeah, that's the idea. You want to leave residual sugar behind, but there's only so much a yeast can do.
Interesting.
You create sugar water essentially with so much sugar in it. The yeast gets to a point, it consumes as much sugar as it can. Suddenly there's so much alcohol that it starts to kill the yeast off. It leaves sugar behind, right? And that's all part of the design of a beer. So if you're doing an imperial stout, you're counting on so much alcohol that it stops the yeast from fermenting and it leaves enough residual sugar that you still have that sweetness. But at the very, very end of the fermentation cycle, the yeast has consumed the sugar that it's capable of consuming. And so then it starts to consume those weird volatiles and those weird gases. And so a lot of people will refer to as cleaning up after itself.
Yeah.
So the weird stuff that yeast creates during its fermentation cycle, its life cycle, at the very end, the last thing it does is clean up some of those weird off flavors and tastes. Right. So it cleans up after itself. So, but there's two ways to.
So you're not like releasing a valve and it's like
No. The yeast will eat it. You do have a valve open, and CO2 is venting off your fermenter, generally into a bucket of sanitized water, so that there's no wild badness getting back into your fermenter. Right.
Okay.
So if you ever go to a brewery and you see like buckets that are like bubbling and foam and pouring onto the floor, that's what they're doing. They're venting CO2 from a vigorous.
Never seen that.
Oh yeah, you should go to El Segundo Brewing and you can see it all.
They do have great beer.
They have their IPAs
Citra?
are so good. Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, I say Citra. That's a hops though.
But it's also what they named their beer. That was in the early days of Citra before they were so heavily trademarked, that name. Yeah. So so you either have yeast, which consumes sugar and creates alcohol and CO2 and various byproducts, or you have bacteria, right? And the difference between the two generally, other than bacteria is very hard to kill, and once you introduce it, it's very hard to get it out of your system. So Smog City, for example, has one system that's yeast and one whole system that is bacteria and sour, and the two never cross. Like they never ferment a regular beer over in their sour brewery, and they never ferment a sour beer in their regular brewery because bacteria is so hard to kill, and it will live in the tiniest of spaces and reproduce. And suddenly you have their flagship IPA is suddenly sour because some bacteria.
Is this why they
They're
steam
separate,
clean?
Separate buildings. Steam is part of it. Yeah, is a way to try and clean that stuff. But in their case, and I think it's very smart, they are separate systems, separate buildings. There is no bacteria in their regular brewery, and there is no yeast in their sour brewery. Like they're right across the parking lot, but they are completely separate because the chances of cross contamination are huge. And so
Interesting.
bacteria generates acid. In addition to CO2 and whatever volatiles that bacteria generates, it generates acidity. And that's the sourness. It's just acid, right? So if you choose not to...
Vinegar? Is that a correlation?
Similar, right? Like it's a similar chemical profile in that it's sour, right? And it has that character, right? But if you choose not to use bacteria because of the risks, then you can just add acid, literally lactic acid or maybe phosphoric acid. You add it to the boil kettle. And that's why when you see kettle soured, that's a brewery that is making a normal beer and is adding some kind of acid to the wort when it's actually boiling it. And then it gets fermented with normal yeast in the fermenter. And so they're not using bacteria. They're adding the sourness through acid additions. Or maybe they'll add it post-fermentation. When the fermentation is done, they get the beer and it's off in a bright tank or it's in wherever it is. Like There's a bunch of different ways to approach that. They may just literally add acid to the beer to make it sour. This is probably, I have no idea, Epic Brewing, I have no idea. But it could be their flagship IPA and they're just adding acid to it. They're just adding lactic acid until it has a sour tang. And they may have done it enough times where they're like, well, in a 10-barrel system, we add 4 gallons of lactic acid, and it makes the whole thing taste exactly like this. But it's our flagship IPA. That's what kettle souring is acid additions that are not generated by fermentation.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Schooled.
it's fine. A lot of people a lot of brewers, snobby brewers, feel like that's cheating, just adding the acidity. Like, you think about a Sour Patch Kids, like the watermelon Sour Patch. My youngest son loves watermelon Sour Patch.
Sour Patch Kids are delicious.
They are clearly, there's no bacteria
What's on
involved in watermelon Sour Patch. Like, they're adding.
But it's
some kind
chemicals.
of- yeah,
Yeah.
it's acid. They're adding, the sourness is from acid. Grapefruit tastes sour because there's a lot of acidity in grapefruit. It's just acid. Sour is just
But grapefruit-
how we interpret acid.
It's delicious
It is delicious. They should maybe sponsor you.
and cleansing.
They should maybe sponsor you. And so our sourness is just our interpretation of acidity, right? And so whether you add that naturally through the fermentation process with bacteria, or you're just dumping acid in the beer in the kettle or post fermentation, that's adding, I guess, I don't want to sound snobby. I guess it's adding artificial sourness
Okay.
is what kettle soured means.
And so you're saying Epic is just adding fake chemicals to their IPA.
They say kettle souring, they're adding acid. Maybe they're doing something awesome and creating their own acid through some natural, I don't know. Or they're distilling grapefruit juice or something ridiculous to get acid. I don't know, but kettle souring means they're adding sour that is not generated through a natural process.
It's kind of lame.
It's a little, I don't hate it though.
It's not bad.
Like, you're going faster than me now.
I was going to ask, you're a brewmaster, you're a CTO, and you're a babysitter, so it's okay.
It's all those things. I don't like babies, for the record.
You, sir.
I have nothing to do with babies. Yeah, I have always told my children that should they ever have grandchildren, that those, or that they should have children, that those, they should refer to me as Mr. Dorman, not Grandpa. Just saying.
I kind of know the sentiment that you have, because you just like,
I don't like
you're
children.
like, they're all graduated, so I don't have to deal with them.
I'm done with that
This
shit.
is fantastical.
I want to go do my thing now. Fuck.
It's Jay's time.
Right?
Jay's time to live. But you want your son to be working your brewery, maybe? Is this-
Potentially. I mean,
crossing
there's
the line?
two. There's an oldest and a youngest. The oldest is following my footsteps.
Okay.
Got to help him. He's going into tech. I don't know. He's almost done with his degree at Cal State Fullerton. He'll be done like September, kind of a thing.
Where is that based? I should know this.
Placentia. It's sort of between here and OC, kind of.
Okay. South.
Yeah, south. He'll be done soon. He's been on quite a long,
Hefty crack.
Yeah, that was good. That felt really good. He's almost done. He's gonna go into tech, but his real passion is coffee. If I ever get the opportunity to help him roast,
Can't lean you in here, but I have seen competitors in that space.
yeah, there's a lot of competitors in the coffee space. Although the startup costs are low, and there is a lot of room in coffee. He is, and I'll give him this: his scientific approach, which is probably what will make him a good programmer, lends itself to making really good pour-over coffee. Measuring the grams of coffee to water, making sure
bad.
you're using the filtered water in the right way and the right temperatures, and all of that has a massive impact on the taste of your coffee. And like
The temperature of the water,
oh yeah,
I've been baffled by how much. Now, I don't do grams. I don't mess with weighing. I don't. The temperature of the water to me is the most foundational thing, because
yeah,
200 versus 210 is a massive difference.
much sweeter and fruitier at lower temperatures,
Yeah. The grind,
smokier and
maybe I
aggressive.
just found a grind I like, and I stick with it now, but
Yeah.
I do the burr, but
I'm the same way. I got a nice burr grinder, not crazy. I don't know, it was a couple $100, and I know exactly how many beans for a full Chemex to do.
I do
just-
seconds.
I know
so
how
it's,
much.
I equate seconds, but mine's an $85 grinder. I'm staring at her over there. She's pretty.
Yeah.
It's lasted me
I
like
remember
4
that.
years. We bought that
You
one for
actually brought that
appetize.
into appetize.
No, we bought one for appetize. That's not.
Oh.
There were two. Yeah, they probably still have the one,
You're probably right. No one's
because
using
I was like, this thing fucking lasts forever.
That whole thing fell apart.
That's my whole bulletproof. Now I run bulletproof, which might screw you. Screw you? That's not the right word.
You know,
Mess with you.
flexible at this point.
But let's get that bourbon out. Because I put creamer, I put MCT oil, I put ghee, I put collagen protein every morning, but it's now
Into your
religious.
coffee.
Religious
Like
for
the whole butter coffee
a
thing?
year straight. Yeah. Blend it.
Interesting.
I can do worse beans now. I used to be religious about like, oh, the beans have got to be amazing. They've got to be fresh. They've got to be. And now it's just like, you know what? The beans have got to be decent. I like a light roast. But that's the
like
thing
a
that
light roast.
drastically changed.
Like
I
to
used to be
medium.
like, give me a French, give me a dark roast. And now I'm like,
And
oh,
Italian.
I actually like coffee. Like light roasts are actually way better.
Medium light roast, I am a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you get your beans?
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
But I've gone from like
In cans? Like in the can?
not anymore. They do make some decent canned ones.
They do.
But I'm at like, I'm not even gonna admit now. So I went from Blue Bottle strictly, like no joke, Blue Bottle every week. I'd walk there once a week to get the beans, which were amazing.
They're great.
Great beans.
Expensive.
When I got into the bulletproof though, it's like, well, I'm blending it with half the shit anyway. So like you lose a lot of the bean. It just gotta be good. I have fucked up and I've done like the shitty beans, which disgusting, like still bad.
Yep.
But there's a balance of cost versus, because I'm spending like the protein plus the ghee plus the MCT oil plus the turmeric.
Yeah.
It adds up, so I want to find the balance. So like right now it's sad. I don't even want to tell you. I think it's either a pound and a half or 2 pounds for $13, but it's 365 brands.
Yeah.
It's their light roast.
Yep.
I forget. It's one of their light roasts, but it's a Hawaiian-ish name, I want to say. That's why I was messing that up. But
And they make good coffee
Kauai? No, that's not a
in Hawaii.
Kauai. Kauai? I think it's Kauai.
I'm comfortable with that. Blue Maui is a great coffee.
It sounds like weed.
Type. It does sound like weed. So there's a coffee shop near here on Venice, near Venice and Centinela, called Lana's, and they make some great coffee. It's pricier. It's maybe $15 a pound for whole bean.
That's not bad though.
It's not terrible,
Yeah.
and it's definitely in your neighborhood. It's worth checking them out. It's right near that sort of 7-Eleven, right on the corner of Venice and Centinela.
Huh.
It's just a little bit farther west.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. Or I get beans from the Coffee Conservatory over across from the Sony lot.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Their coffee is great.
People
I
love
just got a new, it's called El Salvador Honey, and I just picked it up yesterday. Fantastic. And a Guatemalan that I picked up from them, just really, but I just drink it black, and a nice light medium roast is great when it's black like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Did we resolve the coffee or the gun conversation?
Did we?
So my next,
Can I take a piss break?
let's pause and take
I feel
a.
like I got a pit.
We're gonna pause.
Pause.
I generally avoid it because of the sugar, but
Oh, I do it after it runs a lot.
I've been pretty low carb lately.
It's a good way to go.
Christine is, she's intensely low carb, and she exercises every single day, and as I'm sure you do, without flaw. She runs, she lifts, she bikes, she does something, yoga on Fridays, every single day. I manage maybe 4 days a week. I can drag my ass out of bed and do it. It's harder for me during COVID because I love spin class. I love the competition of other people that I can see are riding hard, and I love feeling like I'm riding harder than them. And so I enjoy that. So not being able to go and do that has been detrimental.
I want to joke about a Peloton. That's why I got into bulletproof coffee, like high fat. My body, it was the first, and I'll call it a diet. I do high fat plus paleo plus, I just had energy. I never got tired.
Almost keto-ish, almost. You're not trying to be in ketosis. Right?
I was never in ketosis, but my body was burning fat. And that's where I would run. I could run 5 miles, I could run 20 miles in a day.
Yeah.
And I'd still have energy. And I wouldn't be hungry. I wouldn't fuel during the 20 miles.
Who cares then?
I felt good. My brain was there. And I was like, oh, every time I eat, I love pizza, I love pasta. Every time I would eat that though, I'd feel like shit afterwards.
Awful for a day.
Yeah.
So here's my problem then, since we're on this tangent, before we go back to talking about guns, because I want to get your thoughts on this. So my problem is I feel like I have the metabolism of a slug. I will wake up in the morning and I'll eat nothing for breakfast. I will drink a water with some electrolyte stuff in it because I have this weird like heart rhythm thing, and if I don't have a lot of electrolytes, then I kind of get an arrhythmia thing going on, which is irritating, not particularly deadly. This is not medical advice. And and I won't eat anything until lunch, and then I'll do a protein shake.
Yeah. Do you feel good though? You feel like
Fine, sharp,
I love.
ready to go.
I didn't intermittent fast, but I got into it out of a high fat diet because I was less hungry.
I just know I'm not hungry anymore.
And then I'm like, oh shit, I feel amazing when I don't eat.
The idea of eating something at 9 in the morning is like, I can't even imagine.
That's where the bulletproof coffee though. You get like 350 calories is probably that whole cocktail.
Yeah.
Plus it's coffee, which I'm gonna have my coffee.
Anyway.
And so it's like I'll do that and then I wouldn't eat until 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And I would go for a 5 to 10 mile run in between that and I wouldn't feel afterwards.
Yeah.
I drink water, I would drink coconut water. Like I don't want to say 0 calories, but I wouldn't have a meal.
Yep.
And I would feel amazing. And my mental acuity was just,
Yeah, I'm sharp in the morning. I don't feel like I'm fuzzy because I haven't had calories or anything like that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have that protein shake is maybe 350, maybe 400 calories at 1 or 2 o'clock. I'll maybe have that. And then a dinner, and almost no carbs at dinner. You know, it's just greens and some kind of lean protein.
yeah.
And I mean, for a guy, I mean, what do you read most? It's like between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day kind of a thing. I'm not even eating
Pretty low today.
anywhere close to that in a day. And I'm still like sort of barely maintaining. Maybe it's because I'm 51 years old and my metabolism is slower than ever, but like it's crazy how little calories I ingest and still feel fine and like not mentally fuzzy at all. And I spend a lot of time thinking about, okay, like, do I need to like lift weights more? Do I need to focus on muscle mass? I know that like burns more and generates more metabolism, and like I'm trying to figure out what do I need to do
Yeah.
to increase my metabolism, because honestly
So-
it's awful. I think my metabolism is terrible.
I studied kinesiology and nutrition a while in college, and it's interesting because like I'm now doing a lot more cardio than I used to. However, if you want to lose weight, the actual better way to do it is by gaining muscle mass, because your resting metabolic rate, which is
Higher.
how many calories you burn when you're not doing anything. Like you're asleep, you're on the couch. And not saying you need to, like, that's not a healthy way to live, obviously, but the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn throughout the day. When you're doing cardio, you're burning calories while you're doing cardio.
Right. And then it stops
When you have
within
muscle
an hour
mass,
or
you're
two. Right.
always burning calories.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That said, 2020 was my year of like, I've never done so much running and cardio. And it was half out of just, I need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And it was half out of like, well, this thing's going around and let me just be the healthiest immune system I can be right now.
Yeah.
And it was a balance of that. And it was also a fucking release for having gone through a divorce and everything else and just
Yep.
needing to get out of that and like torture myself and just push myself mentally. And it was a fantastic way to do that. And I'm excited for Boulder because I can actually, I told you I got hit by the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got hit by a car running. Like LA is just not the place to run.
No.
The beaches are too crowded
It's
now. Everywhere else, you've got idiots on their
6
cell
a.m.,
phones not
maybe
paying
6
attention.
a.m., maybe. Yeah.
Even there, like people aren't paying attention. They're like, oh, no one's out. I'm just going to stare at my cell phone and drive. I was in a crosswalk and the car was stopped
And you still
and drove into me. Like,
that's all.
and there's so many times now I've been almost hit because now I'm on edge. Now I will run behind the car at a stoplight, even
Yeah.
when they have the right of way now, just because it's like
You just can't trust people.
they're not paying attention.
Yeah. Well, riding a motorcycle builds that sort of self-preservation awareness. Like I'm constantly looking for who's going to hit me
Yeah.
at all times. And now when I drive, I'm a much better driver now for having learned to ride a motorcycle, just because the level of paranoia that you need in LA to survive on a motorcycle is so intense.
I'm going to do one of these because I need it. I don't know that you need it.
I probably don't, but I'm looking forward to the next beer whenever that is ready. So, one last bit about guns, and then maybe we should talk Colorado, or we should talk tech, or I don't know. You tell me.
We've got, the funny thing is I don't even call it out. Like, we're a good amount in, and I feel like there's still so much I wanted to talk about. We haven't even talked tech.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Colorado. I haven't told you about my 2020 consensus. YouTube, we kind of touched on. Overlanding is now my thing, but I did fall off for a while.
Yeah.
There's so many topics, and we don't have to go into all that.
I enjoyed watching your show.
But which one?
On the first camping one with the giant wind that almost ripped your door off that day. And
that was a good one to watch too, because it was it was a good success to failure story.
Yeah.
And I'll go in quick, and then we'll pull out the sours. So YouTube as a whole, which sucks, and like honestly, 5 people will watch this video. Maybe I expect 100, 200 views.
Yeah.
YouTube as a whole for me, I dive in, right? I got into photography. I got into videography. Photography was amazing. I've only been doing, I picked up my first camera 4 years ago, technically. I like to dive in deep, and it was a creative outlet for me. And I've always been a MacGyver of things, of like, let me figure stuff out and dive in and learn and adapt. And I don't want to be the Casey Neistat or the Peter McKinnon, or I don't know if you know half these guys, but like, there's people that have their own flavors, and I will mimic them in videos. Matt Diavella, like there's videos I have where if you watch a specific video, you're like, oh, he kind of like, who is this fucking knockoff?
Yeah.
And it's not that I ever try to replicate or copy. It's that I try to absorb and build my own. And YouTube for me started as a creative outlet to get free stuff. That's all I wanted, was like, let me get free stuff. And the coolest thing was when someone was like, let me send you this $20 trinket for you to review. And I was like, oh my God, I made it.
I get a free thing.
I have 2,000 viewers and I made it. This is my dream. Like, I am famous.
Sorry.
And I can edit that out. I'm not going to though. So I started getting free stuff, and then it piled and it piled, and it not piled to where like, but I got to work with some really, really awesome companies, like shit I was going to buy, and companies whose stuff I had owned for a long time and
free thing.
Believed in. Like fundamentally, I really like these companies.
Yeah.
They started sending me stuff, but then also a lot of people who I didn't believe in. And then I'm like, okay, I got this $50 to $5 microphone or pair of headphones, and now I got to review it. And the problem was it converted from this creative outlet and this fun space into this, like, it was an obligation and a job.
So when was this? When did that happen?
There were a combination of factors. So that started to happen, honestly, six to 7 months into me doing YouTube. And I lucked out with a few videos. I bought a few expensive things just because I needed them out of necessity, like my laptop.
Yep.
That was like my 3rd or 4th video. And looking back, it's a trash video, but it got like, I don't even know now, maybe 25,000 to 50,000 views.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, some of these companies will look and be like, oh, like I have some videos with almost 200,000 views now. And so they'll look at those and be like, well, let's give this guy some free stuff and we're going to get some free content. And it's very transactional, and YouTube in its own nature, like that's what I always try to think about in my videos, is they are transactional. Yeah. Why do you want to sit down and listen to Jay Dorman and I talk about whatever the fuck we're talking about?
Yeah.
There's a few ways you can go with there. You can go educational, you can go entertainment, you can go purchase decision. And that's where a lot of this stuff turned into for me. Was I went from making videos that were exciting. Filmography and photography was new for me. And so buying all the latest camera gear and trying it out was all cool and fun. And like, let me review it because I wanted to review it. I got a new camera. Is it better than my last camera? I got a new cell phone. Is it better than my last cell phone?
Yeah.
I wanted to know that. And then to the point where it started, like, I just started getting like, here's a light. Test out this light for us.
Yeah.
Or here's a new camera. I didn't care. And then it felt like I was just doing this out of a work necessity. To where I didn't necessarily believe in the content, but I was even putting it out, and a lot of that stuff still got good reviews because it was relevant.
Even if you were like saying, I hate this camera? I mean, did you ever get a product where you're like, I hate this, I'll buy it?
The problem was, and I don't even know if I should say this, the problem was I've never falsely reviewed anything. I want to put that out there, but I had free things sent to me where I had to spin after talking with them. Like, well, maybe you don't position it this way. And I also had things where I just didn't post a review. I basically told them and I said, look, here's my honest feedback.
Let me send it back.
This thing's not good. And that's what I say. I'm like, look, I will send it back to you if you want it. And they'll just either not respond or not deal with it. So I've had things where I've had free sent to me that the review got deleted, or I've had things where they're like, well, can you spin it this way? And I only question, is it valid to spin it?
Yeah.
And in some cases, yes. In some cases, because here's the thing, sure. I'm a eccentric and I will spend $350 on a microphone because it's the best microphone. I'm not the average consumer.
Yeah.
If there's an $85 microphone that someone sends me and I legitimately think it's a good microphone, I think that's a valid thing to review and tell people, like, if your budget is $85, this is a great microphone.
Yeah.
However, for me personally, I'm probably not going to buy that microphone. I'm not the target demographic.
Right.
So that's the line for me, where if I can review something and provide a valid review to someone who has a budget that's different than the one I'm looking at, that's honest feedback. If I'm lying to you and saying this is better than it is, that's bullshit, and I don't want to be a part of that. And I feel like I have not done that.
That's great.
Where all this lost me, though, I don't, as someone who got caught in the consumerist wheel, like, it's a bullshit wheel to begin with, and I don't want to push anyone else there. And that's where the whole product reviews and buy this over that, and here's how this works, like, it just lost me and it wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
And that's where the Jeep, the overlanding, the camping, I do introduce products, but it's because it fundamentally made my life better when I'm camping.
When you're doing it. It seemed clear to me in the video I watched. Yeah.
And that's my hope. Like, it's meant to be more, I feel like education and entertainment are now my goals. Over watch this video to learn about and buy this product. It's more about, I need a 10-minute break from my life. Let me try to watch this video and maybe learn something in the process.
Yeah.
And just be entertained and just not think about work, not think about that stressful situation I'm in. Like, that's now my goal. And those videos for me, honestly, if no one watches this, I had fun making this with you.
This is fun.
Like,
and we drank a lot of tasty things.
Yeah.
Still 2 more to go.
There's still plenty to go.
Yeah.
And so I could give a shit less if people watch this, but I enjoy making it. And I hope, when I say I give a shit if people watch this, I hope the people that do watch it enjoy it. But the people that don't want to watch it, there's so much content out there.
Yeah.
Go watch the content you want to. If you enjoy this, like, that's why I hope you're here and I hope you like this video. But at the same time, there's a lot out there. So if you don't find this entertaining, then please go find something else entertaining.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, I've finally found the balance of, like, it's not profitable what I'm doing these videos recently. I'm only getting a few hundred views per video, which is not actually that good compared to some of my other ones, but I enjoy making them and I'm excited when I post them. And so I hope that people enjoy watching them.
Yeah, absolutely. I have often thought, and we should probably plan the next beer. I have often thought.
I did the shot of tequila.
Well, that's true.
Are we doing mine or yours?
I think yours.
Okay.
I think the bourbon barrel aged stout is probably.
We'll finish.
Is probably the finish.
Kind of knock us out.
It'll be warmer, and that's the right temperature anyway. So, I have often thought about doing something around brewing and trying to teach and help, but I don't know. I've never quite found the passion for tech as much as I have for the beer, and so I just haven't done it. But I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I've thought about it. Yeah.
It's
cool that you're doing it.
And for me too, when I fell off, right, I was on a roll for a while, like a roll I hadn't been on. And honestly, the divorce was a big part of that.
Yeah.
And not to go too deep, but, like, I realized that was my support system into things. And it was also my branch for one of the first times in my life for not being, I was a very insecure individual for a long time, especially through my 20s. And my 30s, I kind of found that, like, I'm just going to be me. And if people like me, great. If people don't like me,
yeah.
So what?
So be it.
And that fell off, and I just I had too much to focus on through 2020. And I know you're staring at this beer like, Kyle, just fucking open the beer so we can talk through this.
Man.
But honestly, a big part of that was, like, I can only focus on so much. I'm a laser focused guy.
Yeah.
And prior to that, it was like work, marriage, YouTube.
Yeah.
Obviously, the marriage didn't work out. So it turned into, yeah.
It happened. Happened to me. It happens.
That's how life goes.
It happens.
And it turned into YouTube, dating, and running. Running. Yeah, actually, that was
Yeah.
YouTube dating running. And that was my 2020. I was like, stay healthy, lose weight. There's shit going around that you don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to focus on I tried to do YouTube videos throughout that year and I just couldn't find the creative avenue. And I've finally bounced back to where I'm like, I need that to be a part of my life. It's like going to the gym where like, while you're doing it, it doesn't always, you heard that.
It's a beautiful noise.
It doesn't always, it's going for a run, going to the gym. You're like, should I do this? You never leave the gym or leave a run or leave a cycle session where you're like, I wish I didn't do that.
I wish I hadn't done that just now. It doesn't happen.
So let me spill this and then read this to you.
Yep.
I shouldn't have opened this. This is why I didn't want to open this, because this actually, the description plays to the
This is a
flavors.
double, an Imperial IPA?
No, I don't think so. It's an Imperial Hazy IPA.
Interesting.
And first off, hopefully this gets on camera. Like, you can't not buy a beer that looks like this.
I mean, look at that guy.
The guy's holding a brain, pointing.
And he's pointing at me. He's like, drink this beer. And I'm saying yes.
Cloaked in a semi-translucent haze, an imposing presence beckons you to come closer. As you do, your nose opens to a tangent of wistful memories. Peach season in the orchard, a tangerine tree on a hill, fresh honeydew cold from the fridge, and a vanilla cream soda in your hand. What kind of bittersweet initiation is this?
Have you ever had a vanilla cream soda?
When I was 15.
I'm not sure I've ever had a vanilla cream soda.
They're actually disgusting when I was that age, and I enjoy it now. This was a beer when I first texted you. I was like, meh. I drank 5 of these. They actually grew on me, and I was like, oh, it's delicious, and it's 8.8%. So
That's a biggie.
we're just gonna finish this.
It's good that we're just doing halvesies because it's a lot of beer. We used to go to an orchard in western Michigan. I wish I could remember the name of the place. Cranes. I just remember the name of the place. That worked out well.
That's not place. You gave one of the two, sir.
Cranes. Cheers.
In Western, it was Western Michigan.
Western Michigan. Okay, it's not very hazy.
I actually think you'll like it.
Smells lovely. I definitely get the melon kind of tone.
I don't like honeydew either. And who puts honeydew in a fridge?
Yeah, I totally get that.
You get the honeydew?
I do. I like cold fruit. I like my fruit cold. Apples and everything. Yeah. It was called Cranes, and it was the first place I ever tried a Honeycrisp apple back when it was a brand new variety. Incredible. But we used to go...
Wait. How old are you?
Let's not talk about that. 51.
How was World War II?
It was fine. It was fine.
Great Depression?
I didn't have to go. That was fine, too. I wasn't very depressed.
Henry Ford.
He was a good guy, very focused.
Is this a real story though? The honeydew was not. Sorry, wait, I don't even remember what apple you said. But
Honeycrisp. It didn't exist. Honeycrisp apple.
What is the background here? Is there a story here? Because I'm fine going on a tangent.
There is a point to my. All my stories have a point. Sort of. Sometimes they're not very interesting, but they have points. They had peach season. And I used to go with my sons back in my first marriage, and I guess she came along too. And we would pick these peaches. They were literally almost the size of my kids' head. They were just massive peaches. And this orchard, they did fertilizer, but it wasn't. They didn't do much of anything to this fruit. It was all very natural. So a peach this giant. And they were very upfront about saying, take a peach and eat it while you're picking. It's on us. And so we would go out there and pick peaches, and we would pick the biggest peach we could find. Those kids would and the juice would just run down. Their shirts would be covered with peach juice. They were so good. They were incredible, incredible peaches. Stunning. It was a great orchard.
Were the big ones good? Because here's the thing.
They were. In this case, you wouldn't think.
Typically, yes. Typically, no, I should say. The more natural, it's like women,
small
right?
peach.
They're,
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
You would think it would, that a peach that size would be genetically engineered to be that size, and so then it would have,
Yeah.
like, this was not that case. I don't know what the variety was. They had white peaches and your typical Georgia peaches, but I don't know what the variety was of this giant peach. It was incredible. It was all not quite the size of a cantaloupe, but these were
It
massive.
doesn't even sound good, to be honest.
It was incredible.
I feel like it's just going to be, I've bitten into a big peach before and it's been flavorless.
They
And
were
you're
so
just
good.
like,
These were good.
but the sour, I like a sour peach. I like nectarines the best, honestly.
Yeah,
No
nectarines
fuzz.
I doubt we will ever be in West Michigan at Crane's eating peaches that we pick off these peach trees together, but they were
And they were natural. They were not
they were
HGH.
natural. No, they were incredible.
How,
I actually enjoy this. I'm not getting as much peach as I had hoped, but
There's
I
a lot of
actually
honeydew.
Really enjoyed it. There is a lot of honeydew, a lot of cantaloupe going on.
there's no cantaloupe.
Yeah, honeydew's a green one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're
What
similar
happened
to me?
when the honeydew proposed to the peach?
I can't wait to find out what happened.
It said, sorry, I can't elope.
That's terrible. I hope you edit that out.
Such a bad joke.
I hope you just edit that right out. That was awful. I think you've had that tequila shot.
You're laughing, though.
Clearly,
Anything that brings humor.
pushed you right over the edge.
I'm out of control.
So, what is the timeline for Colorado?
Oh, for me, I actually the irony is that, yeah, I say words
I'm
weird.
comfortable with that.
So March 27th is when I move in. March 26th is when I leave this place. You can tell it has been packed up already. So
It is tight in here. Yep.
I figured this out like 2.5 months ago. And it was one of those like, oh, I got plenty of time. And then I got the overlanding gear. And now I'm like, oh, every weekend I've been camping. So
Instead of packing.
I haven't actually packed. The thing is, I've already been getting rid of a bunch of shit, believe it or not. I know it doesn't look like it. I'm getting rid of, so like the couch, my bed. Because here's the thing, I'm ultimately either going van life or backpacking, or I'm going to be going into transient for a while.
Yeah.
So I do have a 2-bedroom there. I want it to be cozy. I want to have guests. You and your wife are obviously Christine's avail. Like,
Thank you.
welcome more than
be
anyone to come visit. I know you're going to be there anyway, actually. We talked about this. So I think the idea is to have a studio, guest room, office. I'll figure out what it means. And then my bedroom, which can honestly just be a mattress on the floor. And then the living room, which will be cozy because I need it to be.
Yep.
That's it. And I don't want to spend a lot of time in the apartment. I got a 2-bedroom because honestly, it's way cheaper than LA.
Yeah.
And
Wildly.
Boulder is not wildly cheaper, but
Well, big
for
Texas.
what you get in Boulder is, I have a 4-story rock wall, climbing wall. I don't even climb, but they have Pelotons in the gym. I found out the gyms are actually open. Holy shit.
Isn't that an amazing idea?
Look at that. And like Boulder in general, I've read it's it's 110,000 people, college town. People will stop you to interrupt to just meet you on the street, to talk to you, to have like, there's a community.
Wouldn't that be something?
Everyone's in shape.
is
Everyone's
not
like
LA.
having fun.
That is just not LA.
It's just, I'm so,
People in LA are so jaded, and generally unfriendly, and yeah.
what's happened recently is so clear because everyone's on edge. No one is like, hey, neighbor. And I love it when I am running because I'll have the random, honestly, 1 out of 100 interaction where someone's like, hi.
Yeah.
Like, hey, neighbor, good to see you on the street.
Yeah.
Great to see another human being. Everyone else is on edge. Like, are you near me? What are you doing? Who's
Stay away.
We both have masks on, but I don't care. Let's get nervous.
Whenever I'm riding on the Strand or on Boyona Creek, like there's a few people that I recognize, and they're always like, "Hey," pointing. I mean, we see each other for all of 5 seconds before we fly by, but still, it feels nice that there are other humans out there as opposed to the normal LA resident, which is not particularly human
Is Michigan like that?
in their approach. Yeah, Michiganders are not the friendliest folk.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
State College was hit or miss. DC, kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
here in the, yeah, we don't need to get in the homeless here, but it's gross. For the state tax you pay, I've never been political and I don't want to be ever. Yeah. I'm libertarian now, like happily registered libertarian. I believe in that.
Yeah.
I just, for how much you pay, the output is not there.
It is not
regardless of who we're talking about as the people in charge of things. It's not there, and it's in a sad way, but at the same time, like literally, if I look out my right now, I can see a burned RV, like an RV that was set on fire that has spray paint on the side of it.
The RVs along that street. Oh my God,
terrifying.
Yeah, that's a.
And do you know that
recent change?
Whole strip of rows right here was all it was little like tents and stuff, and they actually had to they blocked it off and said Eric Garcetti's in charge now, and like. Yeah. Again, I'm not picking on anyone specifically. I just the fact of input versus output doesn't equate.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't know if Boulder's better, but I can imagine from what I've seen it is. And I just need a break. I just need to get out of let me take a breather.
So am I.
Air quality index. Honestly, it's weird. Apple introduced that, and I'm kind of an Apple snob. Not really. I used to switch Android to Apple all the time. But they added air quality index to the weather app.
Yep.
And it's always like unhealthy.
Always in LA. Yeah, it's very rare.
Let me get some healthy air.
It's not Krakow, Poland air.
No, that was. Do you know I had that? That's the mask in my car still that you bought me.
That's funny. What a mess.
Remember, it smelled like gas. That was also when Bitcoin was like the initial.
I remember. Yeah, you were all over it in that trip. You and Nomer. Yeah, you guys were all about it.
That was amazing.
Yeah. So maybe a month. So a month, you're out of here.
Not maybe. Like I have my lease.
And you're
my notice is here. My lease is there. My new job is approval. Like they know about it.
Yep.
So happy.
I'm a little jealous.
Fucking ready. Great. You're more than welcome to come visit.
Thanks. I will.
Here to Denver is.
It's inexpensive and fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like $200 round trip.
I have 200,000 frequent flyer miles.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Just waiting.
That's fantastic. Over this past year, since we haven't been traveling, I have not that this is an endorsement because they're not a sponsor. I have a Barclay card, and the cool thing.
They're actually a sponsor of the channel.
Oh, they are? Well, there you go. I love my Barclay card. That'd be something. The cool thing about their card is that it's not tied to a particular airline. You can go into their website and say, I want to. They list out travel-related expenses, so hotels, flights, car rentals, whatever it is, and you can just apply points towards it, and they pull it back off your bill after the fact. So you book whatever you want, wherever you want. If it's travel-related and you have points that convert into dollars, you just apply those dollars, and it's pulled off your bill, which is pretty great. And so we haven't gone anywhere in a year and change, really. Our last big trip was Portland 2019. So it's been some time since a big trip.
Amsterdam, December 2019 was me.
Yeah. So, I've got close to $2,000, like actual dollars, not points, but dollars worth that I can just peel off whatever expense I put on that card, which is pretty great. So I'm looking forward to getting a vaccine. And I have a question about that when we get to it. Getting a vaccine and spending some of those points on some travel, like I mentioned for it.
That's where I figured the overlanding rig, the Jeep for now, that's my interim step is to like, how much do I like this? Because van life then, RV was kind of my dream, or like a pull-on trailer.
Yeah.
This is not the right truck for a pull-on trailer. Like it can again, but it's not the right. So I think van life would be, because I could fit, if I have a shower and a toilet, what I've realized from this, shower and a toilet, you're good for multiple days.
Yeah.
And maybe like some good tires.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
So are you going to do like one of those crazy tall Mercedes like van things?
Yeah.
Or like what?
The Sprinters. So you got two van lifes. You got Sprinters and you get the Ram. The Ram, that's what Tom Green's using. His channel's fucking awesome. Like of all people, right? Tom Green. Watch his shit.
Yeah.
His recent stuff is awesome. He does a lot of weird. He's fucked up from home, and like here's a live story because he started getting traction. His van life videos. He got a drone. He got a Sony. He actually has a Sony A7S III, same one actually we're recording on. It's pretty entertaining. He's just going out into the desert and just fucking living life. It's him and a dog, which is
that's awesome.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
The problem with vans right now is they're on back order like crazy. Like you're on a good 6 to 12 month wait list just to get your van built. You can't buy a Sprinter from Mercedes like that, or you can't buy a Ram like that. You have to give it to someone independently as a contractor, and they build it up. And most of them do not have showers and toilets, but I've realized those are the two essential things. Like I don't need to have a desk and workspace inside. I need to have the shower toilet because that's what sustains. The rest I can do outside. I'll buy a table.
It's table stakes. That stuff is. Yeah. We were adamant about a sailboat that had a separate shower from the head because otherwise everything is soaked from the shower.
Yeah.
And I was adamant about an electric head because on a sailboat, you either have this crazy pump thing or you have an electric head that does a pump and macerator and does all of that for you. And like that stuff is table stakes. I
was going to show you what I'm using now. I won't go get it.
If you have to worry about that stuff, it's
you know, like a Home Depot work bucket.
Yeah,
it's that plus a plastic lid. That's what I use now. The funny thing is, biologically, my body has not yet made me use it because my body's like, "Oh, you're on travel, you're good."
It's a day
because I've only done 1 day.
We're gonna seize up, but in a 4-day trip,
yeah, it's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Elysian, I love you. I love.
You don't like this?
I love. I'm a Space Dust guy. I love Space Dust.
Dayglow. Dayglow is the best.
Dayglow. There was a beer they put out. It was 3 or 4 years ago. I've never seen it since.
You don't like it?
Super hoppy. As this has warmed.
Just be honest.
Just because it's warming. When it was icy cold, it was fantastic. Now that it's warming,
it's warm cantaloupe.
I'm just gonna set it.
You're not even gonna finish it.
I'm just gonna set it over there.
I'm a little offended.
I'm gonna set it
just
right there.
slap that horse in the mouth while you're at it.
I'm just gonna put this right there.
I'm a little offended myself.
And I'm gonna look forward to the next beer.
This is our last one, sir.
It's gonna be an
This
appropriate
is gonna knock us into
finish.
home field.
The Goose Island 2020.
Introduced.
So this is a relatively challenging beer to get. I actually found
Is it?
It's somewhat. I found it at Gelson's. They had 2 bottles.
Also known as Gelson's.
Or that. Is that how you say it? Gelson's? I don't know. Gelson's. It's relatively rare to come across this beer. It only comes out for a certain window.
Okay, pause though. Goose Island, and I'm not being an asshole, I'm sorry.
They're a big brewer.
No. But Goose Island, this specific, or here's why this is on sale at the Whole Foods down the street right now. But it has a green cap, but it is the Bourbon County. It's Bourbon County.
It'll go soon. It'll be off shelves in another.
But what's the difference between the green, black, blue?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know. I know there is one.
Ruining your story, and I feel like an asshole. But then for 2 months,
up to get at the brewery, they line up to get something. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. But
I don't distrust
I'm gonna grab that.
I haven't seen the black. So there's a black, there's a green. I think there's a yellow, like a gold. This color.
I'm hoping you'll edit something into the video and be like, "This is what green means. This is what black means."
I'm not going to do any of that.
And everyone will be like, "Oh, look, here's a nice bulleted list that Kyle did for us."
Tom had it, and I was like, "Oh, this is delicious." That was 2 months ago. If we walk down tonight to the Whole Foods, they have this, but in the green.
Interesting. Well, I think we should drink some of it right now.
I haven't seen the black. What is the ABV?
I'm not sure.
It says 2020 on top. Chicago made.
Oh, I see it.
Chicago. Developed in 5 years. It's not listed. Enjoying a snifter.
I'm ready. Well, I brought the appropriate glass.
I don't want to. We didn't even get into tech, and I'm okay with that.
I love this glass. I love the delicacy of this glass.
Oof.
It's a very
It's syrupy.
it's a very thin glass.
If you
Glass is thicker. It's from a brewery down in Costa Mesa, Barley Forge. It no longer exists. Barley Forge. I thought they had some amazing beer. So I'm bummed that they closed, but
I like this glass.
I really like the thinness of that glass.
Ooh, yeah, it smells like molasses.
Yeah.
It's not as thick as the maybe it is.
Oh, that is
Tastes like molasses.
delicious.
You like it?
I love this beer.
Coffee and molasses.
I don't see the ABV either, which is odd. I thought that was 14.6. That's a big beer.
Is that beer? Yeah, at that point, is that beer?
That's almost barley wine. That's a great beer. See, I love that.
Oh, it's hand typed. Yeah, they
love
test it.
The caramel,
Caramel. That's the.
the roastiness, the coffee, the chocolate.
Is there
Honestly,
chocolate in there?
Yeah. Well, no, not added, but it certainly has that character for me. Smog City, which is the glass you're drinking it from, and it's also that cap over there next to your phone and that bottle that you're holding. Down in Torrance, 30 minute drive from here. They, and I'm probably going to order a case tonight. They once a year put out a beer called Infinite Wishes. And they do, sadly, it was canceled this year, although I've heard they're going to reschedule it. They put out a series of bourbon barrel aged beers that have various different adjuncts or additives to it. Like they'll have a chocolate
Cheese
mint-
fries?
or cheese fries. Or they'll have like a chocolate mint version. They'll have like a chocolate orange version. They'll have like a bunch of these different flavors.
It's such a Christmas flavor.
So imagine having like an orange note to this and how amazing that would be, right? And so they just released theirs this week, and you can buy a case. It's roughly $12 or $15 a bottle.
The volume is 1 pint, 0.9 fluid ounces. Who does that?
That's weird.
Who does that?
Yeah, that's
sorry.
weird. Usually it's a 10-ounce snifter
Or one pint.
or a
Like,
pint, which is
what's the 0.9 fluid ounces? Just sneaking in there. Mm-hmm. Do you think the
So-
bottles are handmade to the barrels? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. The labels certainly are. Well, I don't know. It's handwritten. Well, that's probably not handwritten.
Maybe it's how much they fill it.
I think it's printed. It looks handwritten on purpose, but I think this is printed 2020.
You think?
Yeah, I don't think that's somebody's hand. Look how smooth those lines are. There's no jags.
The problem is that both digits match perfectly.
Yeah.
The 2s and the 0s match perfectly. That's fake.
I know. That's not.
It is no.
And so Smog City Infinite Wishes, yeah, that's
This is
handwritten,
fake.
right? Like
There's no way this is fake. Yeah, you can see each ends of
someone's
the
shaky hand
of
like
the,
writing shit with.
Well, the dots with the dot when you like.
Yeah, yeah. And so what they will do is have this event, this Infinite Wishes event, and it's a one-day thing. And you buy a ticket, and you go, and you get one pour of each, and then you get a vote for each. I actually think they gave you one more vote than the number of pours you got, so you could try and double down on a beer you really liked. And whatever beer won, they would do a production run of it and sell it. And so right now they're in the production, or they're in the contest phase of it. So
No.
usually it would be on site, but now they're selling it online. So I think I'm going to buy a case of it and get, I think there's 5 this year of each of the different beers and try them out. It's not cheap. Like I said, $15 a bottle.
You're a baller. Let's bring out that 112-year-old scotch over there you had.
I can't even imagine what that would taste like.
Could you imagine tasting it at this point? It would be like, why are we?
Wouldn't even appreciate it.
What are we doing? This tequila tastes the same.
Sweet, right? As it warmed, it really got sweeter. Yeah. So a month. You're going to be in Colorado in a month. What do you
When are
think
you visiting?
is the biggest thing you're going to miss from LA?
Miss or enjoy out of the new place?
Miss from this place.
I'm gonna get so non-sentimental here. Do you know what this place reminds me of? The bars I can't go to. The restaurants I haven't been to in a while.
Yeah.
The boardwalks I used to enjoy. Like, it sucks. It's just, honestly, though, that's LA right now.
With not being able to be outdoors and enjoy restaurants and
I moved.
like it's hard. LA.
So
This is what LA is all about.
I was basically like a half mile from the beach. I was not the closest, actually. The closest I was in, it was in Santa Monica. I was like, the beach was out of my window.
Yep. I recall.
I moved a half mile away after I split, and awesome apartment. Ladies loved it. Yeah. But that was when shit broke down, and like you couldn't do anything. Everything was awkward. You couldn't do anything, and everything was awkward. And I didn't really care because I was like, this is the healthiest point of my life. Like, I've lost 30 pounds.
Yep.
I moved another half mile away, saved money, bigger space. I have a 2-bedroom now.
Yep.
You saw the girl that walked outside. Like, that's my enjoyment now. I don't have a lot of like, you don't meet people. You don't go out and just randomly shoot the shit. I have neighbors.
LA has never been that way for me. 10 years.
For a while it was. I had a lot of bars I went to. In 2020, should we go into 2020? Online dating.
Year of the apocalypse. I'm ready.
That whole schema.
Yep.
Like, it was. I never liked online dating to begin with, but I never was good at it either because I was invested.
Yeah.
And the problem with online dating is you can't be invested.
You cannot be invested.
And I got very good and comfortable with that. And the funny thing was, every girl I went on a date with was like, "Wait, you're normal. Like,
what are you doing on here?
You have a job. You seem normal.
You have your own place.
You're not doing weird stuff on this first date."
Wait, you have a car?
I had so many girls come over and be like, "You're clean. Like, what is this apartment?"
Yeah. And you drive your own vehicle?
Yeah.
You own a vehicle? What is this?
Apparently there's a lot of weird people out there, and like, I feel bad for a lot of them. It was very normal and approachable, and I'm like the only girls I even went on date with were one that I actually connected with. And there was so much bullshit for a while. So initially was like before all the bullshit, right? That was, let me converse with someone and make sure it's a good fit, and then let's do it. And then it turned into 2020 flooded to online dating. Everyone.
Yeah. Well, how else are you going to do it?
Well, and that's the thing. The problem was a lot of people would be like would like me and message me, and I'd be like, "Hey, I don't know, random question, like, what's your favorite food? When did you move to LA? Yada, yada. Based on your profile, let me ask you this question," and just no response. Or, which is normal for online dating, but they liked me. That's the weird thing. Like, they did the input.
Well, then why did you do that?
Then fell off. Yeah. And then you have the inverse, which is the girls that would be like, and this was prior to, the very normal dating was like message back, message forth, go on a date. Are we a good fit? And most latched on. It was weird. And I don't want to sound too arrogant, but like, most were like, "Oh my God, you're normal, you're good looking, like, you have a job, you're stable, you have your own car."
Yeah.
And then it turned into a lot of girls that were like, message a day later, like, "Hey, what's your favorite food?" A day later, "Pizza, how about you?" I'd wait an hour or whatever. You're like, "Oh yeah, I love pizza too. Like, here's my favorite pizza. Have you ever been to Stella Barra Pizza?"
Yeah.
A day later, "Yeah, oh my God, that place is amazing." A day later, and you're just like, this isn't how you converse with a human and meet
she's
people.
She's doing it with 17 other people.
And so it was either, so that was one side of it, was like the introductory to dating. The other side, which I'm probably going too deep on, which was like every girl I actually dated and got to know in person was like, "Can we have kids? Like, when do you?" Yeah. So here's the thing.
No.
I've gone on a broad spectrum of dating in 2020. 2020 was the year of like, let me kind of, what's this taste like? What's that taste like? What's this?
Yeah.
The girls in their 30s, and God love them, as soon as they found out I was normal and good looking, fuck, I sound like an asshole.
Now they want to talk kids and religion.
The like third, fourth date was like, hey, like, oh, so like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? How soon do you want to have kids? How many kids do you want to have? When do you want to move to here? When do you want to?
Yep.
Yeah, and it was just way too heavy, especially for me. Like, had I not been through what I've been through, I think it would have been like, okay, let me pause, let me rewind, let me dive in. I probably would have dove in very heavily to a few of them. And some of them I look back on and I miss them. Honestly, I miss them, but I was like, that was too soon. That was too soon. You don't ask me to date. I had girls ask me to date their sister's, niece. So it was her niece, sorry. It was the girl I was dating's niece. And like, hey, do you want to come babysit my niece with me?
No.
And I'm like, that sounds terrible.
Nope.
Sorry.
Don't want to.
Like
and that's a showstopper.
I want to spend time with you.
That's a deal breaker.
And then I had other girls that were like, "What age do you want to have kids? How soon can we have them? When do you?" And I was like, it was our 7th or 8th date, and I started joking. I started joking around like, "Well, you've got plenty of time. Like you've got at least 3 to 4 years, good years left." Like because they brought up the spectrum of like men can kind of do their thing forever.
Sure.
Women have an age limit, and I respect that, but you don't bring that up on the 7th or 8th date.
That's just weird.
And so, like, as we're settling in to be like, this is a good fit, and like, you're intellectually adaptable to how I work. I am for you. Like, we complement each other well. We have good times together.
Date for a year before we even think about the rest of our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of them pushed into that, like, well, we need to figure out very specific conversations right now,
or we're done.
Because I only have a 4-year shelf life before I may not have kids anymore. And it's like, I don't know, you don't know. Let's just figure. I'm at a point, I want to figure this out. I want a partner in crime before I want anything else.
Yeah.
That's what I need. That's what I want. And that's what I hope I find in Boulder.
Yep.
I just need someone that I enjoy spending time with. And then let's loop in the rest of that shit. And it sucks because like I used to. So when I originally got out of my marriage, it was like, oh my God, I'm 32. So I have to at least spend 2 years with someone before I have kids with someone.
Yeah.
So that means I'm 34, 35. So by the time I'm 35, if I have a kid, that means by the time I'm 53, they're going to college. That means by the time and I started doing all that math, and then I was like, you can't get lost in that world.
Don't do it.
Life is a finite situation, and if you get lost in the math, you just got to love life and enjoy it. And you know what? Shit's going to fall into place.
I so agree. You're with a person that you love being with them so much that you're like, you know what? If our kid goes to college when I'm 55, or if our kid goes to college when I'm 65, I don't really care. Because I'm happy with this person.
I want to beat him at basketball. I want to outbench him.
It just doesn't fucking matter. But I'll always outbench him. But it just doesn't matter. I don't have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
To make sure that's compatible with me. But that's online dating. It's basically you're shopping for shoes on Amazon.
It's terrible.
Do I like blue? No? Okay. Well, then I'm going to filter out blue shoes. Like that's online dating. And they're planning 8 steps ahead because it's impersonal and it's online, and that's how that shit works. Yeah.
Have I told you about the girls? I haven't told you specifics, and I don't need to go too specific.
I can't wait for some specifics.
What's the respectable way to say this? I've had a lot of question marks in terms of like, what type of people do I need to be with? Should I be with? 2020 was a good year to try out different perspectives. And I've gone down the route of like good looking, not very intellectual. I went down the route of one girl I dated, and honestly, I feel bad if she listens to this.
Sorry.
She looked like a supermodel. She literally, as I would go on dates with her, like guys were breaking their necks looking at her.
Yeah.
She was a data scientist for Amazon.
That's awesome.
And
I remember you talking.
Yes, I told you about this.
Yeah.
She talked about herself in the third person.
That's so weird.
That was
so George Floyd.
It's the glass break moment. And it was like, why? I couldn't. And I don't know, third, fourth date, whatever by the point where it was like, let's shit or get off the pot, she kept talking about herself in the third person. I was like, this is actually a thing. Like, this isn't just a random sporadic. And I was like, I can't fucking do that. Like, this is everything on paper that, like, smart, beautiful, motivated, intelligent, like, and it just, the third person, you don't refer to yourself in the third. Maybe some people love that. And maybe some guy out there is going to be the perfect match for her. And I hope so much. Like, she does find the love of her life.
I'm sure she will.
But for me, that was just, and so I went through that. I went through, I don't know, just a lot of different experiences. And I feel like I grew so much out of respect for that. But I also learned at the end of the day, it's about just, it's the easiness of, you just want to spend time with the person. You just want to have fun and
worry about the big stuff later. But some people aren't built that way. They have to, like, plan for the big stuff before they're willing to even consider whether this is someone I like spending time with. Like, they have to check all these boxes.
Yeah.
I had a date like that when I first moved out here to LA. It was 2011. Match was still relatively new. I mean, it had been around 4 or 5 years. I don't know the day they launched, and dated this kickboxer, this redheaded kickboxer who was just...
I'm in love.
She was gorgeous. She was
Irish?
beautiful.
Feisty?
No. Yes, feisty, not Irish.
How do you get red hair without... Dyed red?
No. We chatted a lot, and we went to dinner at Mercado in Santa Monica, which is... They also have a... To bring it full circle, they have a great spicy margarita. I'm gonna say Mercado does,
and that's the podcast, folks.
Okay, we're done. We're done. And she was an attractive human, but halfway through the dinner, she asked if I would ever consider converting to Judaism, and my answer was,
"This was first date."
This was our first date.
Interesting.
And she had a son. He was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something like that. Whatever. Like, I could wrap my head around that for the right person. And all of our conversations, we had spoken significantly on the phone and whatnot. And
yeah.
It seemed like we clicked really well. Sense of humor and drive and everything. But she asked if I'd ever consider converting to Judaism. And my response was, I'm the least judgmental dude on the planet. You follow Judaism, you follow Catholicism. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing. I don't really go all in for anything. Is there something out there? I don't know. Maybe, probably, maybe.
It's a question of why. Did you ask why?
Yeah. Well, in order to get married, it needed to be in a... Like,
for her Jewish, or for her parents?
I don't know. She required that I be Jewish in order for us to be married. And so in the middle of a great dinner, great bottle of Tempranillo on the table.
Fucking Tempranillo is my favorite wine.
I love a Tempranillo. It's nice. It's a nice range there. I said, I can't imagine myself adopting anything in particular. Like, that's not really me, but I will never stand in the way of you doing your thing and supporting you. And like, absolutely, like, do your thing, but I can't. She, mid-sentence, I couldn't even finish what I was saying. She stood up.
What?
She stood up and she said, well, if you can't convert to Judaism, then there's really no point in us continuing to talk. She's like, I had a great time. We were such a great fit. Other than this, she literally walked out and left me at the table with this great food and this great wine. And I'm like, well, I'm going to drink this wine.
Get hammered.
I'm going to Uber home and I'm going to enjoy this shit. They have some of the best table-made guacamole ever. And a great bottle of wine. And I'd already had a nice spicy margarita. And, like, I wasn't going to leave. Like, fuck that. But it was just, it goes to show like she was 5 steps ahead of where we were today.
Yeah.
Worrying about the future, and she couldn't figure out how to plan for. Do I like this person today? Do I want to enjoy my time with this person today? She couldn't think that way. She couldn't think that way.
The levels of I have certain things I think where I may even be that arrogant where it falls into a realm of like binary do you don't you, but you can present it as like, what do you think about?
Yeah.
But you can't be like, would you on a first date? And then someone be like,
super weird.
wait, what?
Yeah.
Especially, anyway.
You know what? I had
props to her. Maybe she found the man of her dreams and he was like, I will convert tonight or I already am.
I hope she did. She was stunning and smart and funny and like
it's
genuine.
Weird when they throw, that's baggage though, right? It's a weird baggage.
Yep.
And like, good for them. Again, if they're going to find.
Draw your line.
There's 5, 6 billion, 7 billion. I don't even know how many.
Draw your line. Wherever your line is,
like crazy, but
draw your line.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And that's fair for her to do that, I think.
But
you know what though? Is it better that she did that night versus wasted your time 5?
Well, her profile did not say she was looking for someone who was Jewish. I don't give a fuck about someone's religion, but like, make that transparent. Be transparent about this hard line that you're going to draw.
Yeah, especially on the first date.
I don't give 2 shits about someone's religion. Believe whatever you want to believe in. Wiccan, Jewish, Catholic.
You're okay with witches?
I'm fine.
It's Christina witch.
I don't want to talk about that. But I'm just so not judgmental about that. But be transparent about it.
Yeah.
Like, own it. If it's that important to you.
Yeah, if it's a first if it's a walk out on a date,
own that shit then. Like, don't waste time.
Yeah.
That's like that was crazy. But that's it to me, that's online dating.
I'm trying to think of the funny dates I've had. I got catfish once.
Catfish. I had one that was weirder. I met a girl. I am so grateful for my wife. I'm so grateful for Christine. I didn't meet her online. I met her through the head of recruiting at Edgecast. He asked his wife, he said, I know this guy at work, meaning me. He's a great guy. Can you tell me who is the hottest, least crazy of your friends? She's like, Christine. And he's like, okay, let's introduce them. And she's like, I don't know. She's just going through this divorce, and I don't know if she's ready. It took a year. And Christine's like, okay, I'll finally meet this guy. And I had done more than my share of online dating at that point. And honestly, like, I had a legit good time.
You fall into it. You're like, this is going to suck. And then you fall into it and you're like,
okay.
Half of this sucked, but the other half was like, I learned a lot.
And had a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah.
But to your point, I had given up on taking it seriously.
Yes. You can't. If you take it seriously, you're fucked.
Do you take it
That's the problem.
any more seriously than what color of shoe that you buy on Amazon? And if you take it more seriously than that, then I don't think online dating is the thing for you. You has to be casual.
Because you're gonna blow people. Well, I actually didn't, but you're gonna get blown off. You're gonna have random shit. Like, you can't set expectations is the number one thing. That's my number one rule. Was like, as soon as you set an expectation, your point, like, there's no point in doing it, because
yes,
you're gonna have bad nights. You're gonna have good nights. You're gonna have crazy nights that you didn't expect. You just open yourself to the spectrum and enjoy it, and sign up for the ride.
And be okay with that it's going to work or it's not going to work, and you're okay with whichever outcome that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was very fortunate to have found my wife, not through online dating, because maybe that would have fucked it up. I don't really know. So I feel super fortunate. But at the time, I was in the middle of, like, going out with 3 or 4 different girls a week. This was obviously way pre-COVID. This was 2012. I mean, 8 years before COVID.
God, I was a year out of college.
And I was having a great time. I was having an awesome time. And but by the time I got to the end of it, it wasn't like, LA. If you can go out to a middle of the road restaurant and have drinks and dinner and walk away for less than $150, I'm surprised.
With tip?
Shocked with tip. Top to bottom.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like if you're going to a decent place.
Yeah, you're spending at least 100.
And yeah, you're at least $100 for a decent dinner, a couple drinks, maybe a bottle of wine, depending on where you're going. You're legit $150. There's no other way to do it. Like you can go to In-N-Out, I guess. I don't know.
You're going to be waiting for at least an hour or so.
Yeah. And so
Sucks, man.
yeah, their French fries certainly suck. You get the right burger. Let's not. There may be
Five Guys, window. There's so many better
Yeah,
spots.
but they put soy in their bread. So
I'm going to tangent.
I'm not a soy guy. So
I'll get you dinner after this.
all right, I'm ready. Five Guys. So
You love Five Guys.
there's no fucking soy involved. So I was having a great time, and I met, again, redhead. Maybe there's a theme.
You're not
there.
Jewish, though.
Not Jewish though. Not that I give a fuck. Like whatever. Met another girl. Thanks. We had dinner. We had coffee. I was to the point in the process where it's like, I am not going to spend $200 on a dinner. Maybe that's cheap. I don't know. I'm not going to drop $200 on a dinner on a stranger.
Were you mid-dinner at this point?
We went to get coffee
Where, okay.
on Main Street.
Okay, so you're not like mid-dinner and being like, all right,
Well,
you
a
ordered too
different
many
girl.
appetizers.
No.
We're just going to cool it on
This
the...
isn't the kickboxer girl. Like,
Okay.
She was worth investing
Is
some
there
money.
another?
I'm always
outside a lot.
She was worth investing a little bit in a nice dinner,
Okay.
but not. I don't know. And so we met and we had coffee. I was far enough along. I had enough like train crashes that I'm like, let's go have coffee. And then let's go to Tasting Kitchen on Abbott Kinney. And I'll drop the $200.
You're the proofread kind of guy. Give me the spark notes. Give me the spark notes because we're not quite there yet.
Exactly. And so I show up and she's, look, like, I've already established I'm not the judgmental type, right? But she was maybe 10 years older than all of her photos.
I've been catfished
And she was maybe
once.
50 pounds heavier.
Yep.
And
Yep.
again, I am like, everybody has their journey and their thing they're doing, and it's fine. But like, I have my thing, she has her thing, it's fine. But don't mislead.
Were you ever, I'm going to pause, were you ever reverse catfished?
Say, like,
Where it's like the girl lost weight. My catfish was unfortunately,
no.
and I like own who you are. Don't post a picture from 4 years ago. That was my shit. Like,
Who were you last week? Put a picture on from last week.
Yeah.
Unless you haven't changed,
even put a good picture from a year or two ago, but like,
it's fine as long as you haven't changed.
I've never been, you get catfish, but you don't get reverse catfish is kind of what I'm arguing. And I don't mean to be an asshole, but like, maybe, and honestly, girls like the dad bod now, and I used to have a dad bod. I was 200 pounds. I'm 165 now. I've been 165 for the last year.
It's right where I'm at.
Maybe girls don't like that. Maybe I'm fucking with people. But like, when's the reverse catfish where it's like, hey, I used to be a little heavy and now I lost weight, or I used to not do my hair and now I got my hair cut. And
That has never happened to me.
yeah,
always
it
yes.
just doesn't happen.
Which is unfortunate. I think it's an American body dysmorphia thing, especially, sorry, for females. Like, I think it's just, like, I think they have an idea of what is ideal, and if they feel like they're not in that ideal, and body dysmorphia, I think, makes a lot of people feel like they're outside that ideal, even if they're not, which is awful and unfortunate. But I think it happens frequently, and so then they lie.
Well, and I think it's terrible, but like, look, I've got wrinkles, I've got age on me, I've got gray hairs now. Like,
Like, I basically, it's the only
I would
hair
rather
have is
represent that because you're
point.
going to see it on my first date. Like, I don't understand the masking, and that's
honest-
where I
nobody
do
likes surprises.
on maybe on. That's why social media I think is toxic in general. But on dating apps, at that point, it's like you're going to meet the person anyway. Just represent yourself and just let people love you for you, because there are people that love every end of the spectrum. There truly are, and just own your end wherever you are on the spectrum.
I had breakfast recently. My it was
For the
my
first time?
oldest son. No, my wife, my oldest son, and her youngest daughter Audrey, and we went to Ocean 26 Ocean 26 on Washington, just west of Lincoln,
Okay.
right near. What is that brewery that's right there? I can't remember the name of the brewery. Firestone Walker, right near Firestone Walker. And there was these two young Asian girls, beautiful, just like beautiful, and they ordered a table full of. So the thing about Ocean 26, their thing is, they have great drinks, and they have this amazing jalapeno soaked bacon.
Use some jalapenos.
So good, this jalapeno bacon.
Soaked bacon?
Oh, this bacon,
Is it candied?
it's candied
Oh, fuck.
jalapeno bacon.
I was joking with the candy, but I was like, that would act like
It is so good. But their real thing is French toast. They have like 20 plus kinds of
fuck.
French
Tell me it's
toast.
stuffed with goat cheese, and I'm gonna.
There is. They have various different savory French toast, and they have sweet French toast. They have challah bread French toast. They have croissant French toast.
Is it challah or challah?
I think it's
It's
challah.
probably challah.
I'm comfortable with saying either.
Well,
And
you didn't turn full Judaism, so.
I decided to pass on that. So they have just fascinatingly good French toast at this place, incredible. And so so I'm there having breakfast with my son and my lovely wife and her irritating teenage daughter. Sorry, I said that online. Irritating. And so,
Ouch.
sorry,
How old is she?
Audrey, you're great, but seriously, sometimes. And so we're having breakfast, and these two Asian girls that they had a table full of the most decadent.
You literally give no fucks. I love you.
I gotta say it. They had the most decadent food on that table. All the candied bacons.
Oh, jeez.
They had the most incredible apple pie French toast on the challah bread with buttered crisped almonds in a pan with caramel on, just the most ridiculously unhealthy carb-filled incredible food ever. And they spent an hour, I was drinking this shit out of mimosas. They had this incredible pineapple mojito with fresh muddled mint and pineapple.
That sounds amazing.
It was epic, and of course I had both, and a great cup of coffee in this candy.
You're drinking coffee and jalapeno mojito.
All of it. I'm drinking all of it, and I had the apple pie French toast, and my son had this thing. It was like sausage. He had the savory one. It was like sausage and whipped cream, and it was this unbelievable French toast thing. And these girls had this table full of stuff, and they would cut pieces off and go like this, take a picture. They left a table full.
They didn't even eat it.
It was probably $300 worth of breakfast.
That's why I hate selfies.
and drinks. And
Wait, you were with them?
no, they were over there.
Okay.
And they had a legit camera like this, and they had 2 or 3 cameras, and they were doing all this stuff and photographing each other.
They didn't actually eat anything?
I don't know that they ate a single bite because it was so distracting. They were both stunning, beautiful. And I don't know that either one took a bite of anything.
That's why social media is toxic.
And I think that's the way, to come full circle, I think that's the way online dating is. They create a persona that is so wildly different than reality, right?
It terrifies me. I don't want to go like there. We could do a whole podcast on fucking the toxicity of social media, but
It's awful.
I haven't used Facebook since I was in college. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. It sucks. It sucks.
Oh, that's some yoga pants. I look
I don't know.
at friends, at old friends on Facebook.
Definitely
I like
not
to
looking at her, dog. I mean, I am. I'm looking at.
I mean, I sort of stalk some old friends on Facebook. I mean, I go look. They post something, I go look, and I'm like, what are they up to? And that's it. And then I'm done. I post almost nothing on Facebook, and I do almost nothing on Instagram.
I have a Messenger account. I don't have. I started using IG just for the sake of camping. I feel like here's the thing. It turns in what you want it to. What's the social dilemma? Everyone complains that like everything we see is toxic and everything is a conspiracy and everything is the algorithm works on a way of what you click.
Yep.
If you click on something you don't want to learn about or you do want to learn about, that helps the algorithm.
Yep.
If you click on things that are healthy and healthy and healthy, all you see is healthy.
You're going to see valuable things, healthy things.
That's why I hate it and love it. Like and that's why I feed the machine. We're feeding the machine right now. I believe in YouTube. I like YouTube. I think YouTube is a healthy organism, whatever you want to fucking call it, if you want it to be. The other things, Facebook, I don't know. TikTok, I've never signed up for. I don't want to get into. I feel like that's not. Instagram, I do because I am putting a positive thing on there, and I only follow people that have similar interests. Yeah. I don't follow the like, hey, check out my baby. Check out. I put the like, I don't know, I'm overlanding. And I don't want to say that's healthy because maybe that's not healthy for some people, but it's what I hope is healthy. I don't put like, look how in shape I am and look what I'm eating today.
You have to be so careful of what you click on now because one click.
I get weird shit too out here.
I mean, that's a weird hat, but I mean, she might have it going on. I can't really tell.
The beer goggles are just like, you doubled down right now.
Well, she's just because she's wearing like sweatshirt. Anyway,
I'm not going to even call it.
You can't click on anything. You have to think. Like,
I ignore now.
That's interesting. I kind of want to click on that, but you got to know, unless you're in incognito mode, you have to know.
Jay, that's a guy.
No, that's
a man. That's a man.
The one on the street wasn't. You have to know that what you click on is going to
yoga
be
pants
registered and captured, and they're going to feed you things.
Yes. Good or bad.
Good or bad.
Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, doesn't matter.
I'm interested. I may have to use the facilities again. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are about that Google Home. Google Home?
This guy. Who we unplugged?
Like, I am.
That's why I'm mostly iPhone now.
I'm maybe 80% sure that it listens.
Everything.
Time.
I'm 100% sure.
And I don't think it captures and says, Jay Dorman said.
I think it does.
I think it captures it. My suspicion, without knowing, is that it captures it in an abstract way and says, this Alexa is interested in scotch.
You're getting a Blanton's ad tomorrow.
I'll be fascinated to see if that happens.
I unplugged it. Just so it didn't talk.
I think it abstracts it. I think there are probably security and privacy violations if they say this specific human is interested and said this specific thing. I can't prove this. I think they dump you in a bucket and say this person is interested in this stuff. But I don't think they could say, is Kyle interested in this thing? I don't think they would know. I think it's more abstract and abstracted than that. Like it's a step removed. And so it's like marketing to people we don't know for sure that they said this thing. This is my suspicion. I don't know. But I do think Alexa or Siri and Alexa and Google Home or whatever, like I think they listen all the time and dump you into marketing buckets so that you get ads. And what I'm really curious about, and I think I have to use the bathroom. I think what I'm curious about is your thought. I know you're far more security minded than me, but is that necessarily a bad thing? I am going to see ads on Facebook, and when I look at Gmail,
should it be catered?
The sponsored
Convenience
list,
versus privacy.
should I be offended that they are showing me things that I care about, or knowing that they, I guess, violated my privacy? Or should I be okay that if I'm going to see an ad, they're going to show me something I might give a shit about as opposed to organic, curated carrots or something that I don't care about? Should I?
So
Let's.
here's the thing.
All right.
Convenience versus privacy. Here's where I'm at. Are you going to visit me in Boulder, Colorado?
I certainly am.
So Jay, we are 3.5 hours in. I think what we do is we pause here. This is episode 1. We end the show here. We go do our things. And this is continued in Colorado.
And we revisit whether I got an ad for Blanton's or anything else that we have shown here and discuss it.
You in?
I like this idea.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Great episode.
That was great. That was awesome.